Okay, we are live.
Is this a Hacks chat from Hack Shack Studios?
It is live from Hack Shack Studios with Art T. Bear.
And Taylor Grosso. How are you, Taylor?
Good. How about yourself, Art?
Good, good. I didn't think we had this much to talk about, but apparently a lot of things have been happening. So we have a bunch of things to talk about. We have the new Aladdin movie, and I guess there's some changes to the movie that we're going to talk about. I am going to be drawing and bringing a couple panels together for you guys. And there was a theft of a bunch of amazing comic books as well.
That's true. I had heard of that, and I think the culprit's still at large.
Yes, let's catch that son of a bitch. All right, you guys. So as always, feel free to chat. Taylor will read your chat, your chit chats, and we'll have a conversation. Coming live. This is live from Hack Shack Studios, Taylor. We do this live now.
I know, we've come a long way.
Are you feeling more comfortable with it?
I think I am. I think we got some friends here. We got Sierra Whiskey in the chat. Always makes us feel better.
Yeah. You know what the chat does? I think when you find the chat responding and seemingly paying attention to what you're saying, it makes things better.
It does. It does. It helps.
Yeah. It's more like friends instead of strangers.
Yeah, they're a part of this. They're part of the shack.
Oh, we went on. Oh, this was so funny. We went on a Disney live stream, and Taylor recognized some of the names in the chat, and so we just took over the show for about like 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah, good old Humphrey Bear was hanging out in the chat, one of our regulars.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
So I think they were talking about Galaxy's Edge, and I asked the guy, I said, who do I have to kill to go to a Galaxy's Edge with you? He started laughing. That was funny.
Help lighten up the stream a little bit. I think it helped bring some enchantment over there.
Some levity, if you will.
Levity is something that apparently the new Aladdin doesn't have quite as much as the animated version, I guess.
Okay, so let's get into that. I'm gonna start drawing and inking. So I'm gonna let Taylor do some heavy driving, some heavy lifting.
Feel free to chime in, everybody. I will read your chats after we read a little bit of about the new Aladdin that just came out.
It just dropped.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it had already hit theaters, actually.
Yeah, Pamela just came in a few minutes ago, my wife, and said, hey, there seems to be a little changes to Aladdin here.
So we got an interview with the director here, Guy Ritchie. So this is on Polygon.com. So Aladdin director Guy Ritchie on why the remake is not specific to any particular culture. So Aladdin was always going to be a hit. After the 2D animated original made over $500 million worldwide in 1992, the live-action treatment was guaranteed to perform for Disney. Still, by making over $100 million over the Memorial Day weekend and sailing above predictions, Aladdin is looking more and more like a wish granted for the mega corporation. So they have made, still by over $100 million. Okay, so several hundred million.
That's all?
Yeah, just a little, Though the new version skews closely to the animated film, at least a few tweaks can be attributed to Guy Ritchie. The writer-director knows his way around the blockbuster. And of course, the last movies he's done are Sherlock Holmes, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., King Arthur. I did not see King Arthur. Did you, Art?
No, I didn't hear a lot of good things about it, so I didn't go see it.
Yeah, it didn't look... that one looked very strange to me. His thematic interest in British working class, at least on paper, make him a logical fit to take on Aladdin's Street Rat saga. So what did Ritchie bring to the hand-drawn story etched into the memory of Disney fans? So, Polygon asks, Aladdin is so well known, and I'm sure Disney was protective of meddling with the magic of the original. So how did you bring something new to this direction? Guy said, You want to hold on to it long enough for the nostalgia past its incarnation. But there's room for some embellishment, shall we say. Not least is the character Jasmine, with whom I wanted to create a sort of equality of challenge. Director says, Polygon asks, how does Jasmine reflect the more modern values versus the 1992 portrayal? Were you basing her off of anyone you've seen navigate the real world? He says, if you got to have a significant character, that character has to earn their position. No longer is it good enough to be passive and pretty. You have to be effective and formidable. It felt right that she would challenge Jasmine in this incarnation. She needed to be equivalent of a challenge in that way, in the way that Aladdin has, but in her own way. I kind of agree with that a little bit in that Aladdin had a heavy struggle in the cartoon, but Jasmine really just struggled with being rich and out of touch. What do you think, Art?
I think I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, so it's kind of hard for me to kind of chime in too much. But my fear whenever I hear stuff like this is that you derail the movie because it's called Aladdin. It's not called The Adventures of Jasmine. So when you have a character like this and then you develop them too much, then they kind of overshadow the main character because you only have 2 hours to focus an adventure. And I'm not set against the idea of like, oh, a strong woman lead or whatever, but it's not called Jasmine and Aladdin's Adventures. It's called Aladdin. So the focus really is on a young guy that's ambitious. He has things he wants, but he doesn't have a lot. And so he gets the magic, what is that called? The lamp. And he rubs it, and then he does a bunch of stupid things with it at first. And then he realizes what's important because he meets this woman. You know what I mean? He starts seeing what's important, and he realizes that he can't be a schmuck and have her. And so the point of it, I always thought, was that was his journey, but her journey, like you said, she was out of touch. She was living in this ivory tower. So her story arc was learning that her people needed her, that her people probably needed somebody stronger, somebody different than her father, because her father, like Taylor pointed out before we went live, is that the father is kind of a dope in the cartoon. She's out of touch, but he's really out of touch, with the people and stuff like that. There's people, losing their hands and stuff in the marketplace, and there's some pretty hardcore stuff going on there. So even Jasmine, when she first goes into the marketplace, she doesn't realize how dangerous it was or is, and she almost loses her hand. Right? They were going to take her hand.
Which she didn't even seem aware of was a punishment.
Right. So then the idea I thought was in the story is that these two are working on personal challenges, and that they're bettering themselves in this 2-hour adventure because they will eventually take over for the king.
Yeah, I think then they do show the king, he's literally playing with toys, and he kind of is he's just like a petulant child, and Jafar just kind of leads him like a puppet to do whatever, which is why I guess Jafar was kind of in power during that time.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad foil for like a character, except for maybe because it was the 90s, I don't know, but he was portrayed as kind of just like a childish dope.
The king.
The king, of course.
Yeah, but that's what I thought the story arc was, that Aladdin and Jasmine will be better rulers because they didn't go off and start a new life out of Agrabah. They stayed there, right? Aladdin's whole thing is that he wanted to be like a king or a prince. So that comes with a lot of responsibility. You know what I mean? He didn't just want to be rich and then leave.
I also just thought of this now that you brought it up, because Aladdin's whole thing is he starts to want to better himself when he meets Jasmine. When he first met Jasmine, he didn't know right away that she was the princess, right? Like, he realized it once he saw that she was really out of touch and everything.
Right. So he fell in love with her before he knew that she had money.
And then he was like, since he already liked her, he wanted to kind of be worthy of marrying this woman who, little did he know, wanted to be able to marry whoever she wanted anyway, but couldn't.
And so there's one thing from a guy's point of view, that a guy's self-worth comes from if he'll be able to take care of the woman he loves. And so it is kind of a what do they call those? Like one of those relatable ways that they set up Aladdin, even though he's poor and stuff, but he couldn't really, because of the way society was, he couldn't make an honest way in the world. He couldn't be a better person because the society just wasn't allowing it. So then, he learns how to be a better person and responsible with the money. So I don't know. I got the idea that since he kind of lived the oppression, that he would be a better ruler. And since she was getting her eyes open to it, she would be a better ruler as well. And so that's kind of the happy ever after, is that they find each other, but the happy ever after is also that Agrabah is going to find a more enlightened ruler, I guess.
Yeah, together, because her heart was already open to the people. She didn't treat them with scorn or anything, but she really didn't know what they were going through. And then Aladdin was, he knew everything they were going through because he lived it.
Right.
So it puts him in an interesting position for a partnership. And here, of course, we come to the song that's making the rounds. So Jasmine has a new song called Speechless, and Polygon asked, was Jasmine's new song Speechless a place where you could innovate since there wasn't a visual precedent? And Guy said, it's one thing that Jasmine is asking for a position that's traditionally not open for women, but her asking for this position, she had to illustrate it in some way. Her unique value for that position, and a musical number happened to tick that box very elegantly for us. Making the table for the meal that follows. Okay. It's a fantasy within a mind, which is an illustrated speech, and that speech is significant in terms of illustrating or demonstrating her ability to lead. So it felt very organic to have a musical number set the table. Polygon says, for big action scenes, you're known for big action scenes, but this is your first full-blown musical. Do you have a favorite musical? Do you watch any shows before taking on this film? And Guy said, originally I started making music videos, which I didn't know that. Did you? Mm-hmm. So the music wasn't as exotic as you might think. Although I sort of forgotten about that and only recently did. I remember that's how I started. Most of my films try to move to a rhythm, essentially a musical rhythm, so it's not like I'm unfamiliar with music. But I suppose...
And he was married to Madonna.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. How did that happen?
I don't know.
But I suppose it's because I'm a traditional musician, and I haven't been in that department before. So that didn't feel very exotic. But being drawn into family entertainment, that I suppose is exotic. And dealing with a Disney princess was relatively exotic.
What?
I should just say...
What does he mean by exotic?
That's I guess
weird.
It's different?
Yeah. This is... that animation, it's so exotic.
Working on Chrono is very exotic.
Yeah. All the stuff we're doing with black and white, truly exotic.
Very exotic.
Yes.
Okay, I see why he's doing it. It sounds fancy. Mighty Geek Studio says the focus should be on Aladdin. Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, it's called Aladdin, so far that's my only real qualm with it. But do they have the lyrics of the song in that article?
I thought that they did, but now I don't see it on here. They're conveniently leaving it out and talking about Genie. But I can find the lyrics right now because let's switch over to the scene for a minute so you guys can see what Art is working on. Whoa! Look at that.
Backgrounds.
Very cool. I'm going to find the Speechless lyrics because Pamela read them to us earlier. And we'll see what you guys think of them. Okay, I got it. Is this it? Speechless?
Speechless in Seattle.
I don't think this is right. This is definitely a different Speechless. There's apparently a lot of songs called Speechless, as it turns out. Full Speechless lyrics. Okay.
And now when they sing A Whole New World, it's going to take on a whole different meaning. We'll tear down the old, rebuild the new.
Let me be clear, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know the melody. Otherwise, I would read it in the melody. Here comes a wave meant to wash me away, a tide that is taking me under. Swallowing sand, left with nothing to say. My voice is drowned out in the thunder. Okay, but I won't cry.
Sing it like Ronnie James Dio would sing it.
But I won't cry. I won't start to crumble.
Look out!
Whenever they try to shut me down or cut me out.
Ooh.
It's Cut Me Down, but...
It sounds like a badass tune.
I won't be silenced. You can't keep me quiet. Won't tremble when you try it. All I know is I won't go speechless, 'cause I'll breathe and they try to suffocate me. This sounds like it wants to be. This wants to be that Frozen song really bad, by the way.
Oh yeah, it does.
It sounds.
That was a good call.
I can like hear the same beat of Let It Go. Don't you underestimate me, 'cause you know I won't go speechless. Written in stone, every rule, every word, centuries old and unbending. Stay in your place, better seen and not heard. Well, now that story's ending. 'Cause I cannot start to crumble. So come on and try to shut me down and cut me down. I won't be silenced. You can't keep me quiet. It sounds like I'm complaining at you right now, Art. If somebody comes in here, I won't tremble when you try it. All I know is I won't go speechless. Speechless. Okay, I'm not gonna read this whole thing. This is a long as heck song. So then,
Well, you know, Jasmine's got a lot to say.
try to lock me in this cage. I won't just lay down and die. I will take these broken wings and watch me burn across the sky. This is just the opposite of Let It Go.
You know what? Also, this sounds like very juvenile heavy metal lyrics. Like this sounds like something like that. You know, old Judas Priest would like.
Try to lock me in
Try
this
to lock
cage.
me in this cage. I won't just lay down and die. I will take these broken wings and I will learn to fly. Look out!
She's level 3 says, why is she burning things?
Who knows? You're gonna have to see the movie, man.
And Mark Flannel says, I won't be silenced. Company tries to silence others in their speech behind the scenes.
What is that song? I won't back down. I won't go quietly. I won't back down.
'Cause I won't back
back
down.
down. Oh, it's the Tom Petty, right?
That's a good song.
I'll stand my ground.
Tank Fair says, this is the best show ever.
Oh, because we were singing. That's it.
Nick, somebody says, I highly enjoy landscape scenes. Looking good, Art.
Oh, thank you.
And Nick, you and I had hive mind. He says, are they trying to make Let It Go too?
Yeah, that's what. That was a good call, you guys.
It sounds like Let It Go too. So that's the new progressive Jasmine song, I guess.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that this is going to be a major part of the film, or do you think this is just going to be like an establishing, moment with the character? Because she did have an establishing song in the movie, right, with the tiger. What was that song?
You know what? I can't remember. It must not have been very memorable, because I think she does, because I remember her hanging out with Raja and being all sad, but I don't remember if she sang a song with them or not.
Or if it's just a moment.
It might have just been a moment with like a musical like cue. Gosh, if anybody remembers, did Jasmine have a song? And like, I don't know, part of me thinks this song is kind of woke, but also it sounds like a really typical crappy princess song. Because like all of them are kind of like this.
At the very least, it's very obvious, and Disney and Guy Ritchie can pat themselves on the back all they want, but it seems very contrived to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's an obvious ploy at girl power, and not that I'm against that at all, but once again, I have to go back to, it's called Aladdin. So if they spend too much time on this, I think it'll make the movie unfocused and probably mess with the focus of it, the overall coherency of it.
Definitely. What if Aladdin sang this?
That would be even better. He does it like Ronnie James Dio.
It would actually have a better context if Aladdin sang it, since he's the one that's not rich and he actually is kind of being kept down by a caste system.
Well, the last thing I have to say about the song is she says you. She says you, they. So I don't know who the they and the you are directed at. So if this is kind of directed at Jafar, which I think Taylor pointed out, it'll be fine. But if this is directed at her father or at Aladdin, I think it's a bad move.
Yeah, I think it would only work if it was aimed at him. Oh god, if it was aimed at Aladdin, that'd be absolutely terrible. And hilariously bad.
Well, we were kidding that Jasmine forces Aladdin to ask before he can touch her.
Mighty Geek Studio says, make way for Prince Ali. Let's see. I'm not sure if Jasmine had a song in the original. She does have a song. I was wrong. But I can't remember her song.
Yeah, I can't either. But hopefully this takes its place. But this seems very, very heavy-handed. And it seems like this would have to be properly motivated for this song to work. Like, you couldn't just lead, like, you know, the first time you see Jasmine, she's singing this song. Because this is... There's some angst in this song, you know what I mean? Like, you would have to see her beat down. So this would have to be after she was betrothed, right? And then the guy was a schmuck, and then everybody was pushing her into, I guess, marrying or something, right?
Comic Book Bob apparently said there's a similar song that she sings in the movie called To Be Free.
Okay. I
do not remember that song at all. So I can't really...
Is that the one she sings at the beginning with Raja?
Oh, I think you're right.
Because I do remember something like that in the movie.
Maybe I can find the To Be Free lyrics and compare them.
But that seemed more like that she was, you know, it's kind of like, what is the No Doubt, just a girl?
Yeah.
You know, it's like she's just a girl and she wants to get out of her gilded cage. Because that's what she does. She breaks free. She leaves.
Yeah. So is this her? Oh, yes. I will read. Okay. Just for comparison here, this is her song for the movie. It's very short. To Be Free. Lucky bird inside a gilded cage. Golden words spoken by an ancient sage. It sounds like I'm casting a spell. Everything you may have in life, still all you hold is dust. Must I yearn forever to be free? Free to climb a tree and ponder, free to wander. Okay, this isn't very good. There is no desire I hold fonder than to be simply me, to be free.
Why those people get so much money? If I wrote that, I would think I was a hack. I go, those are the worst lyrics ever.
How ungrateful is this lucky bird? How dare she say that as a rich person anyway? Spotting privilege for one simple word. Freedom to stretch these golden wings. Freedom to touch the sky. Why would one ask, would she want to be free? To throw away a treasure, born with pleasure. I'd sacrifice riches beyond measure. Just a girl with a boy. Aw, what a perfect fantasy. To find love, to feel free, to really be free.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now she's like, my dad's a dope.
Sorry about your immense riches, Jasmine. Somebody brought up recently, Art, that the whole reason that like stories like Beauty and the Beast existed was because arranged marriages were so common that it kind of gave like solace to like women back then of being like, well, he might be like scary, but you might find out he's wonderful, so give him a chance.
Well, if you think about the dynamic, we talk about this sometimes here because I think a lot of contemporary people, younger people, they don't realize the way the dynamics were. So they think the world was always the way that they grew up. Mm-hmm. But they don't realize it wasn't that long ago that one, women had the right to vote, and two, birth control. And birth control changed everything for women. You don't realize, unless you really think about, you know, all the dominoes that fell after because of that. And I'm not even talking about it in a negative. I'm talking about it in a positive, but in a way that women fundamentally and society had to rethink the dynamic between men and women. Because before, there was no alternative. So if a woman was pregnant and you weren't married or whatever, the most responsible thing you could do is to marry. Mm-hmm. And that you, as a society, as a man and woman, they realized the best thing that they could do for this child and for society is to couple up and to raise that kid and make the best of it. That's the thing. Make the best of it. Sometimes they didn't have the choice if they loved somebody or not, or it was my soulmate, or all those romantic ideas. Sometimes it came down to those things. So, having said that, these are old-fashioned ideas. But when people judge the past harshly, they have to realize these things. So when Jasmine sings this song, it's more normal than not, even for regular people, not just princesses. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That you were probably going to get into a relationship based on a child or some other outside force.
Money, some kind of alliance.
Right. It wasn't always going to be because of just pure love. And so the idea, and this is why these are fantasies, Jasmine fantasizes about a relationship that's based on those things. That she has a choice versus betrothed or having a choice forced on her. And that's one of the things that women of the past had to deal with. Women of this time, contemporary time, don't really have to deal with things being forced upon them. I mean, there's still things that happen, but without saying, I don't have to. I feel like, well, this is the part where I have to clarify how it all works. But I don't think I have to clarify. I think you guys understand what I'm saying. And so these are old-fashioned ideas, but should we project these new contemporary ideas on past situations? You know what I mean? Because this is a period piece. I know it's a fantasy, but it's also a period piece, and it's a specific location. Mm-hmm. So if you start writing these things more with a contemporary sensibility and morality, then is that not honest and truthful as well? You know what I mean? Like, are you taking liberties that maybe aren't serving the period piece or the characters?
Yeah, it's a little dishonest if you're choosing that as a setting. We just got a super chat from Pope Fire, the Starfire god, for $2. Thank you, Pope Fire.
Thank you.
And Pope says Starfire is a princess traded into slavery.
Yeah, she was, and she broke free. You know how she broke free? By kicking ass.
Mark Flannel says, it's good to also remember that not all guys would have wanted to marry people in arranged marriages either. People often focus only on one side.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason we were focusing on the Jasmine side is because she's the one that's singing about this topic. You know, but yeah, I mean, these debates go on still. I don't want to derail everything, but yeah, I mean, there is a dynamic that exists, but I do think that one of the things, life dictated terms way more in the past than they do now. I guess that's in a nutshell is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because people don't realize also that marrying for love is a privilege that's actually relatively new in the scheme of the earth. Because marriage really was originally made for political alliances. So people were pretty much married off solely to have alliances of families and stuff. And marrying someone you love is like more of a contemporary thing. It's a great thing, but it's something that wasn't originally originally considered when marriage was first made. It was like, oh, the local farmer can get money from this other local farm by marrying in together to make an alliance kind of thing.
Right. And so sometimes even there were exchanges. And I'm not saying any of this is right, you guys. I'm just trying to say that this is the reality of the situation. And they had to make the best of it. So, yeah, there were trades like, you know, my best pig for your daughter's hand. You know, like stuff like that. And then, you know, the farmer's either going, I'm going to have to take care of for the rest of my life, or I get a pig and, you know what I mean? I get, you know...
Helps the family,
They marry off and then they have more kids and we can take care of our farms or marry our riches together or whatever these things are. And, yeah, I find a hard time judging some of this stuff based on those dynamics.
Yeah, and I just think it's interesting. Like it says, I was watching it last night. I almost talked to you about it, or talking about just Disney stuff. I didn't know we were going to talk about this today, but like it makes a lot of sense that there's so many stories about like some woman marrying a monster and turns out to be a prince, because that was such a common thing of marrying strangers, and it's kind of a scary prospect. But those stories were like a fantasy fulfillment of like, oh, he actually turns out to be wonderful.
Well, you brought up Beauty and the Beast, and that's kind of the story. So it's hopeful to maybe somebody that's in that situation that has to marry somebody that they're not crazy about. You know what I mean? So then she learns that the Beast is okay. You know, he's a good guy.
Level 3 says, with our powers combined, we can now afford a cow.
Well, just think about the luxury of having a freaking cow.
I know.
Jeez, man.
Regular milk. That's pretty crazy. Let's see. And then the other... So that's all the latest Aladdin stuff. We haven't seen the movie yet. So do you plan on seeing it, Art?
I hadn't. I don't really care for the Disney live-action adaptations of the animation. I haven't seen any that are really any good yet. I thought the Beauty and the Beast was absolutely atrocious.
Agreed. For sure. You know what also is atrocious? $42,000 worth of comic books were just stolen.
Oh, I know. That's horrible.
From Mile High Comics. If you guys haven't heard about this, it just recently happened. So in Denver, about $42,000 worth of merchandise was stolen from a well-known Denver comic book store, which is, of course, Mile High Comics. You guys probably, I'm sure they used to. They're not in San Diego anymore, are they?
No, there was one in Orange County.
Oh, really?
There's one right here. Yeah.
I couldn't. I think.
What is it? Chuck Rosansky or something? Is
yeah.
that his name? Yeah,
Chuck Rosansky is the owner. But the big one in Denver, which I don't know if that's the original.
I'm sorry. I know what you were thinking, because we actually did it on this show that Chuck was a major contributor to San Diego Comic-Con. And so because it's less and less about comic books, he quit and he doesn't bring his stuff to San Diego anymore. So Mile High was a big booth at San Diego.
Yeah, it was very iconic, and they just recently pulled out. It sounds like hard times are hitting them, and I don't know if this is because you said there's one over here. I'm assuming
there was. I don't think it's here anymore. I think it's where that Fat Collectibles, and I think they took that space from them.
You're right. I remember. So Denver, I think, is the original one.
Yeah, it's Mile High. Yeah.
So about $42,000 worth of merchandise was stolen from one Denver comic book store. The valuable books have been locked in Mile High Comics Showcase. They give the address. Mile High Comics is known for its large collection. The store has some of the rarest and most expensive comic books in the world. Here is the case that got broken into.
Oh my gosh.
You can see they broke the glass here. I'm honestly surprised they didn't steal more.
Yeah, just take everything. What the heck?
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't clear this out. I mean, it's a good thing. I'm just surprised. The Denver Police Department said the burglar was able to smash the glass in the store's showcase and grab some of the most valuable books inside. That includes the first Avengers comic book, the first Iron Man book, and
I have the first Avengers comic book.
What? Really? Where is it?
Yeah, it's in the garage downstairs.
Oh my gosh! Can we bring it out?
We could, but it's in crappy shape.
No.
It was well loved.
Well.
And not worth stealing.
It might be in good shape in comparison to this one now. Okay, Avengers, Iron Man, and a rare autographed Spider-Man edition. The Avengers book is worth about $14,000, according to experts. In all, 14 books worth more than $40,000 were taken. The store's security picture of the thief. Anyone with information is asked to call the police. Anonymous tips can also be made to the Denver Crime Stoppers. Owner Charles Rosansky, known as Chuck, is trying to figure out why someone would steal what they did. He says, I can't figure this one out unless it was someone stealing for their own collection or stealing for someone else's collection. They knew exactly what they were doing. They smashed it out just so they could get the ones that they wanted. He said, this isn't the first time someone has stolen from him. The building consists of what people haven't... Oh, this is what he said, I'm sorry. The building consists of what people haven't stolen from me. Fanatics will fall in love with stuff that they want really badly, and it's very hard for them to resist the temptation of taking what isn't theirs. Rosansky said he's just trying to stay positive. When you have a misfortune and you find out when you have a misfortune, you find out who your friends are. We have had such an outpouring. It's been really wonderful. Thank you, he said.
Yeah, Chuck's a good guy. He used to have a shop here in Southern California, and he had. It's kind of like Wayne's World. You know how they? What are those called? Those they're like local cable shows, cable access shows. Remember how Wayne's World was like a local Chicago like cable show, and you can get those. You can go on those and make your own shows. Kind of like I guess what YouTube is now. And so Chuck had one. It was maybe the day before the new comics came out or the day after. It was every Wednesday night or I forget what it was, but he would have different people on. So Black and White had just come out. So Chuck invited us to come over. So it was Pamela and I that went on his... it's all videotaped and everything. I wonder where that thing is.
Yeah, I wonder if we could track it down on YouTube. That'd be a good upload.
Yeah, so we were interviewed by Chuck, and we talked about Black and White for about an hour and stuff. It was a blast. He's a good guy.
It looks like the shop looks pretty large. And there's a picture of the suspect, not very clear. His face looks blurred in this picture, so I don't know how,
Yeah, that's why I always say this about video cameras. Yeah, you know that somebody broke in, approximately their height, their weight, maybe skin color, but other than that,
yeah,
because that guy could fit anybody's description.
He is right, though. It is strange that those books in particular were stolen, considering there's so many other books in there. Like you said, why wouldn't you just take everything?
Well, what I always think is either like what Chuck said, that it was that person that wanted that specific book for themselves, or they broke in for somebody else.
You're right.
Like if like you're talking and it's like, oh, I know where you can get those books. And so he's like, oh, yeah? It's like, well, you give me X amount of money, I'll get them for you.
It's backdoor Disney at it again.
It is.
Mark Flannel says, Taylor goes off to get a drink of water. Later we hear glass shattering, squealing tires.
My Avengers #1, Taylor.
I'm all, why don't we get that one out of the garage right now?
Hey, Art, I gotta take a bathroom break.
You're rummaging in the garage. Where is it? Yeah, have you ever had any comics stolen from you?
Yeah. It was kind of like I loaned them to somebody and then never got them back. So is that stealing, I guess?
I mean, I had something similar happen, and I had to, when I was younger, I had to break into my friend's room and steal them back. But that was a weird instance.
I wish I had the forethought to do that.
Well, I almost got caught. It was very scary.
Oh! This was funny because they were Watchmen collection,
Ooh.
And then I think you were there at WonderCon.
Yes!
That guy came up and he said, or was it Swamp Thing or
no? It was
it the
all
Watchmen?
The Watchmen.
Yeah, it was Watchmen, and he goes, yeah. I'm not gonna name names, but the guy that stole them from me ended up giving them or loaning them to this other guy that we both knew. I guess I knew this guy growing up. I don't remember him, but he says he remembers me. And so he's talking about these books that specifically this person in question gave him to read. And they were, because Watchmen was 12 issues. So there's like 4 or 5 of them that I'm missing. And those were the 4 or 5 that I loaned this guy.
But they got him into comics.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. That's why he told the story, right?
Yeah, so you inadvertently got him into comics at that.
With stolen books.
Aww. What if he brings him to the next convention? Like, he makes it right. That would be cool on his part.
Yeah. So that would be like 3 different owners of the same book. I wonder if those are worth anything, like first printing and Watchmen. They're probably beat up pretty bad.
I mean, first printing, they probably are. Those are pretty historic. I had, the ones that I had stolen from me it was the Joker and the Mask crossover, the Dark Horse book.
Ooh.
And they were very good, and I really liked them. And they became somewhat hard to find. and someone who used to be a friend of mine. Not only did she borrow them, but like when we had a falling out, she said that she was going to destroy them.
Ooh.
Yeah, so like me and another friend, like I got her mom to let me into the house, and as I was taking them back, she had just arrived. And my friend called me and was like, she's here, we gotta go. Because she actually was taking her bike back because she had taken from so many people. So she was in the garage and heard her coming through.
So she stole this girl's bike too?
Yes. So we both kind of like ran out like secret agent style. And I remember she was like holding her bike and we both like ran to the car.
I bet that woman has a record now.
She does. She stole stuff all the time. But I got my Joker mask back. Although the third issue is totally like dog-eared and jacked up, but that's okay.
I hate people that steal. It's just it's a weird pet peeve. Like, I don't understand it. If you can't afford it, work harder, buy it. Why do you think you have the right to just take it from somebody just like you? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What makes you so much better than that person that bought that comic?
Thieves are the lowest of the low. That's a level of like I know people throw in the term entitlement a lot, but that's a real entitlement to like have that level of arrogance. So they'll just like, you'll take something. You don't think the other person worked for it?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's messed up. But you know what isn't messed up, or is messed up in a good way?
Is this drawing I'm working on?
No, that's perfect. Let's take a look at it right now.
The background's pretty much done except for this black here, but this is going to be the main thing I'm going to work on for you guys. I don't know if you can see the pencils.
Nice. Maybe a little closer. Look at that, you guys. It's ripping the head off that bot.
Is it in focus?
It is.
I'll
give you a few. Pretty badass.
I ripped your freaking head off.
Can we Photoshop it into Buzzy?
oh my gosh. Thematically, it works.
That would be the new thumbnail.
Off with his head.
If you guys haven't heard our recap of our Waltz Vault specializing in the missing animatronic Buzzy, definitely go back and watch that one. It's some of our finest detective work.
We did it Monday, and we had people in chat helping us out, so it wasn't just us.
But you know, it was pretty fun.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. They were calling us Columbo.
Mark Flannel says, "Comic thief. Art, I feel so bad. Here are your Watchmen comics back, and I got Alan Moore to sign them."
Ooh.
2 days later, the internet is above about a comic theft from Alan Moore's home.
Smash cut. Receiving stolen property.
That's hilarious.
Man, that would almost be worse than stealing it, is like receiving the stolen property.
Oh gosh, yeah, because like, what do you do?
Yeah, do you return it? What do you do?
The same person that tried to steal my comic tried to gift me something stolen as a birthday gift, and I refused it.
Yeah, I had somebody, San Diego Comic-Con stole, like, he knew I wanted a certain book. And so he came up in front of my wife and kid and said,
Ugh.
here's the book. And I go, oh, here, let me pay you for it. And, you know, he's like, no, it's okay. I go, no. And I pulled out the money because I knew how much the book was and everything. And he wouldn't take it. And then I found out that he stole it.
It's like you took what could have been a nice gesture and just made it like horrible.
Yeah.
Right through this says hashtag justice for Buzzy.
There is never going to be justice for Buzzy. I'll tell you why. There's no way, if you guys are familiar with the story, there's no way they're going to find the head of Buzzy.
What?
It's gone.
You think it's been destroyed?
I don't think it's been destroyed. I think it was stolen for a client. I think that's in a private party's hands right now. And I think it's in a private party's hands, and also the private party has probably purchased stuff like this in the past.
Yeah, because that doesn't seem like a first time. You're not going to splurge and be like, your first purchase on the Disney black market is this specific animatronics head or something.
Right.
If you guys don't know, Buzzy, the animatronic from Cranium Command, I always say it wrong,
Cranium.
is missing and reportedly stolen. I was thinking about it too, Art, after our last stream about it. They mentioned that the alleged thief had stolen things from the haunted mansion and sold them, and they had tracked those purchases back to him because there were PayPal receipts. But they never mentioned any receipts on PayPal about the Buzzy. So you're probably right. The person who wanted Buzzy probably was experienced and maybe had him paid in cash or something untraceable.
Yeah, and we heard somebody, was it Yesterworld or whatever? I forget who that guy was, Offhand Disney. And we should look this up. He said that the alleged guy got through the, what do they call them? What do they call those underground corridors at Disney, the Disney parks? Utilidors.
Yes, those are like the tunnels, right?
Right, the tunnels that they built under the park. Well, I don't think that guy was right, and he should know better, because I don't think Epcot Center has the utilidors. I think it's only the Magic Kingdom that has utilidors. So if that guy's hypothesis is correct, then well, it can't be correct because there are no utilidors.
Yeah, because that's something that happened at the local park here, right? Like they have tunnels and stuff, but the one in Florida, it's different. They're built up, aren't they?
The one in Florida, because of the water table in Florida, and I think it was all built on marshland or swampland, that the ground level is, I think, where the tunnel starts. So the tunnel is not so much underground as it's built on ground level. And then the Disney park is built on top of that. So basically, when you go to Disney World and stuff like that, anybody who's been there knows you walk up a hill to get to the ticket gate. So I believe that's a berm that's built because the whole park is built on a hill, a man-made hill of tunnels. But I don't think Epcot Center is built that way. So maybe somebody in the chat that knows Disney lore can... Either that or we should look it up. Because I think, that guy was getting real cocky. He's like, oh, they went through the utilidors and whatever. I don't think they have those in Epcot.
Yeah, I'll look that up. Mighty Geek Studios, who I believe aided us last chat, he or she has experience working on animatronics. And they brought up something interesting where they said, the animatronic heads are generic, but the sculpted mask is what's worth way more money. Because we hypothesized that it was just, in fact, the sculpted mask.
Right, and I hadn't heard anybody until after our show that had said that, because everybody else was saying his head was severed, but I think the face was taken. I don't think the whole head was.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
It'd be hard enough to get that head out of there, let alone, the mask, let alone the head.
Apparently, according to this article, the underground world tunnels need Disney. This looks like Disneyland. I don't know why I didn't figure out as a kid. Okay, let's see. This is the tunnel system in Disneyland. When Walt Disney created Disney World in Florida, he also built an incredibly complex underground tunnel system called utilidors so the cast members and maintenance to travel underfoot, unbeknownst to guests. This is the Magic Kingdom tunnels, but I don't see a map of the Florida ones. I don't know if this is accurate.
The Magic Kingdom one is the Florida one.
Oh, okay.
Ours is just called Disneyland.
So then this would be the Florida map here. I'll show you guys of tunnels.
But I don't think Epcot has them.
Yeah, because this still doesn't explain.
Well, that's Magic Kingdom. Wait. Did that say Magic Kingdom?
It did say Magic Kingdom.
Wait a minute. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up. No, this Magic Kingdom, that's Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there's Liberty Square right here.
Yeah.
Okay. So, to find out if they have them in Epcot, which for some reason, I don't feel like they... You're saying that there wouldn't be, right, in Epcot?
I believe there's no utilidors. I could be wrong, but...
Yes, there is a tunnel under Epcot. the tunnel is used for deliveries to future world shops and restaurants, but no, it is not a part of the elaborate system of tunnels like the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
So the Epcot has one particular tunnel that's for deliveries for food and restaurants, but they don't have the elaborate system of tunnels, and the tunnels do not connect.
Okay, so he still could have, I guess, got them out of the tunnel. So the guy's correct, I guess?
Excuse me, they're called utilidors? Thank you, says Jam Creates. Yeah, but I think if there's only one for the food and stuff, oh, you know what? Didn't they say that particular door was always open because caterers and stuff? So maybe that tunnel is near the Cranium Command?
Well, I think they're talking about the front doors. I don't think they're talking about, like, secret doors. I think when he said the doors are always open, I think they meant the actual front doors to get into the attraction.
Yeah. I've never been to Disney World, so this is all outside of my my wheelhouse here.
So we'll give that guy a pass then.
For now, until more news comes out.
For now.
Art, do you want a donut?
No, I'm good. Weirdly, I do not.
I know, I'm concerned about you. You haven't touched any of the donuts
yet.
yet.
Oh man, I had a big burrito for lunch.
Jam Creates says hashtag bring back Buzzy.
Somebody's got to. I have a feeling, this is just me, no one's ever going to find Buzzy. I'm just saying.
We had like the real conspiracy is the body. Is the body gone? Like, did they take the body, or did Disney simply remove the body so that they didn't have to leave its headless or faceless skeleton there?
I think Disney moved the body, to be honest.
I agree, because cutting off just the mask seems feasible for a thief. Taking the whole body seems like an operation.
Yeah, and also, I don't think they even had to cut the head off. I mean, the mask off. I think it probably pulled right off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We were looking at, maybe that was the mascot heads. We saw something yesterday. There was like a Mickey head, and the eyes seemed like they popped off in a very similar manner that the Buzzy head eyes were out. So we were like, oh man, look at it.
We should show them the Buzzy head so they'll know what we're talking about.
Actually, yeah, I'll find the Buzzy head.
It's on the desktop.
And it was tweeted, on Backdoor Disney, which is why he is still the main suspect, because first he claimed he knew the whereabouts, then
You know, I gotta back up. I'm sorry if you guys didn't see the show on Buzzy, because we're being very cryptic about this. Should you give them the backstory real quick about what happened, so people are just tuning in, know what we're talking about?
Good idea. I probably should have prefaced with that. So Buzzy is an animatronic who was featured in Cranium Command, which is a ride at Epcot, and I guess he was relatively popular, kind of iconic, but the attraction, Cranium Command, that he was in had shut down, and after it shut down, it was inside the Epcot Center. The ride itself became kind of a target for fledgling urban explorers, because it was really easy to get into. Apparently the doors were routinely unlocked.
Yeah.
So people, they'd go in there, they'd be like, oh, we were exploring some abandoned place by Disney. They'd take pictures. Art and I were looking, and we found there was a picture of just some like normal soccer mom looking chick, just like posed in front of Buzzy back when the thing was closed, like right up to it, like nothing. And people routinely did that. It kind of got a reputation of people just going inside and exploring. There's Buzzy's severed head, by the way. And then there was this guy named Backdoor Disney.
Patrick Spinks or
Spikes. Patrick Spikes, aka Backdoor Disney, and he was he hid his identity at the time, but what he would do is he'd post behind the scenes pictures at Disney that nobody had seen, and pictures and video of abandoned attractions, and it was really interesting footage.
I think the video that I remember it was like River Country or something, and he and his urban explorer guys went in there with video cameras and just basically it was like a documentary of like what the park looks like now, and it's like 20 years closed or something like that. So there's all these plants growing over the attractions and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool if you guys are into this type of stuff. There's also a series of photographs that these actual professional photographers went into these old shopping malls from like the 80s.
I love those pictures.
Yeah, and they're almost pristine. They're like the shop names are still on the storefronts and everything, and it's kind of eerily
haunting.
Yeah, creepy and interesting at the same time. So that's what that Backdoor Disney guy was doing. I thought some of those videos were kind of cool.
They were very interesting, and his footage was taken very well. And when he did the one you're talking about, the River Country one, it's the one I saw too. That one was really cool because it was completely abandoned. People didn't have access to it, and I had never seen it. But what he started doing after that was he started kind of getting into the active Disney park that you're not supposed to get into, and kind of getting into shenanigans he wasn't supposed to. He got some interesting shots of like broken down animatronics and stuff like that. Nobody knew quite how he was getting these photos. But what he started doing was taunting Disney on social media and kind of being a jerk. Like, he had posted a video of him and a friend climbing around Big Thunder and Matterhorn, like climbing on the ride. And Disney later installed extra security, and he would post online and say stuff like, oh, good thing I alerted you to that. Like, your security sucks, and would like taunt them. And he kind
of... But in the form of like, I helped you, kind of like, those hackers that'll hack like the U.S. government, and then they go, see, I showed you the flaws, now give me a job or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I informed you about this months ago, and not until somebody broke in and walked around the ride did you care. And because of that, he had a very kind of hostile relationship with Disney. And he used to famously go, one of his most popular videos was him going to explore Cranium Command. And he took a lot of pictures and stuff. And around the time Buzzy first went missing, because first Buzzy's clothing was stolen. And he was supposedly around the site, so he was suspected of the clothing. But shortly after, the entirety of Buzzy was reported stolen. So he was the main suspect. And he commented a lot on it via social media. Claiming that he had nothing to do with it, but also kind of being very coy that he knew who might have it. And then recently, it was revealed that Backdoor Disney, not Backdoor Disney, that oh my gosh, what is his name? It was
Patrick Spikes.
Patrick Spikes. It was
that is Backdoor Disney, though. That is the same guy.
Okay, so his name was Backdoor Disney. I feel like Backdoor Disney was the other one, but I can't remember.
No, it's that Patrick Spikes.
So he was revealed that he used to be an employee, and that's how he knew his way around things, and that's how they suspect he got into things, because he knew how to use, staff access and stuff, and possibly he knew some people on the inside that would help him. I don't know why you would do that, but he was the main suspect for Buzzy, and then they found, supposedly after searching his phone, photos of him with some of Buzzy's, the stuff that was missing, his jacket, and his little headset, etc. And he had also been linked back to stealing other things routinely. So while he was making these videos, he was also stealing things from the Haunted Mansion and selling them on a reported Disney black market. And they still couldn't find Buzzy. They still couldn't link that to him. They linked the Haunted Mansion stuff to him, but not Buzzy. And then he posted this on social media. Buzzy's, and just says Buzzy's head, and this is supposedly found on his phone. So that's where we're at. He's been arrested for theft. They think he has Buzzy. Like Art said, they still haven't found the body of Buzzy, and they still haven't even located this head in this picture.
But there is an article that we found that, by the way, no one talks about this interview, and I wish we would have posted it Monday when we did our little expose on the disappearance of Buzzy's head, is that that the maintenance took the body. They didn't tell security. So when security came in the morning, Buzzy was gone. So they filed paperwork, which they have to do, that basically said that Buzzy was missing. But then, the maintenance said, or whoever takes down or, monitors these attractions, said that they took Buzzy down. So the Buzzy animatronic wasn't stolen. It was actually taken down. And even that guy that we were talking about with the Utilidors, Offhand Disney, he was trying to say, I think it was him that was trying to say
Yes.
that it was crudely cut and stuff like that. But he had pictures of it. It didn't look crudely cut to me. It looked like it was cut with some kind of, like electronic cutter or like some kind of steel saw or something. It did not look hacked at all.
Yeah, it looked like it required at least some skill with equipment.
Yeah.
And what we're leaving out is that this is not an easy animatronic to get to. It was on a 6-foot platform.
And also, let's back up too. It's 400 pounds.
Yes, it's 400 pounds. So if someone were to physically take the whole body, that's quite a bundle that they would have to escape the park with.
It's one thing getting out with like a rubber mask or like a jacket or something like that of one of these animatronics. But to get out with a 400-pound robot, that would take some doing.
So Spikes claims, and also a lot of articles we were reading claim this. There was a security guy that claimed, I think it was the thing we were listening to, that the report of the whole animatronic missing was false because of, like Art said, a miscommunication. They probably removed it once the face and clothing were gone.
Yeah, just remove the temptation. They're probably more or less thinking about liability than anything else, because if they take the temptation away, then people won't go in there and possibly get hurt or whatever. Because I would think as a company like that, that would be the biggest concern. Because it's not like they needed there was no hurry to get the robot, or there was no use for it or anything like that. So there's no priority. Otherwise.
Yeah, because that ride had been sitting there unused for years by then anyway. Ray Thulu says the thief rappelled down the animatronic MI style.
That'd be cool. 400
pounds. And Jam Create says poaching leads to thousands of animatronic deaths every year. Won't you do something to help? And says in the arms of the angels.
Sarah McLachlan, where are you?
And Mark Flannel says the video reminds me of the videos you see from Chernobyl, a trip back in time.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I don't know why it's so haunting. There's a shot, there's like an audio animatronic of that Stitch robot. Oh my gosh, it does. It looks frightening.
It is very scary. It's like skinned because it's just the skeleton. Comic Book Bob said, my niece just got back from Aladdin. She loved it. That's great.
That is cool, yeah.
I'm hoping that kids like it. It's more important to me that kids like it than I do. The animation from Cranium Command was cool. It reminds me of the Buzz Lightyear Star Command, says Jam.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar idea. And did we look something up? Was it Pete Docter? There was some Pixar person that put that Cranium Commando cartoon together.
That's right, the guy that later made Inside Out.
Yeah, I think when we looked up stuff yesterday or Monday, we found that out.
We did a deep dive, you guys. You guys got to watch that video.
I also think there's like some Terry Gilliam elements to the cartoon, where there's like some photographs that they animate.
Yeah, we show a little bit of it in the video. It's pretty interesting. I wish that they had the ride back up and running again, because it looked pretty cool.
It wasn't bad. Everything in Epcot is all educational, so they try to make it as entertaining as possible, and I thought they did a pretty good job with that. They also have like a bunch of SNL people, different celebrities, do the different body functions. So they have Bobcat Goldthwait, and they have Dana Carvey in it. I forget some of the other, but they're all all the emotions and stuff, or the body functions are all like stand-ups and famous comedians.
I'm pretty cool.
Because there's one scene. Do you remember? I mean, you're a little younger, but there was the skit that Dana Carvey did with. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the other guy. They do these like muscle guys, like Arnold characters, and they go, "We're here to pump you up," and they're called Hans and Franz, and so they have these like cheesy muscles and stuff like that on them. I have to pump you up. Hey, listen, you little scrawny wimpy guy. You know, they talk like that. And so they're the heart valves. So they both have one of those pump things. So one's pumping one side, one's pumping the other. And they're like, I just remember the joke was, because it's a kid's body, right, that the Buzzy is piloting. So the idea is that the little animatronic that we're talking about, Buzzy, is a commando, and he pilots the brain, basically. And so he controls the functions and, you know, gets everybody in sync, the heart, the lungs, you know, adrenaline, all those different things. And so, like I said, Hans and Franz are the heart valves. And so the kid's freaking out, right? He sees a girl or something like that. He's supposed to be a 12-year-old boy or something like that. So he freaks out and he sees the girl. And then the brain or Buzzy says, "So how's it going down there in the heart?" And he's like, "You know, if we were 30 years older, we would be attacking you right now." I always thought that was a funny joke.
That's funny.
If we were 30 years older, we'd be attacking you right now, in his best Arnold voice.
It is a weird, like, Terry Gilliam, to see like a Terry Gilliam toned thing at a Disney like attraction.
Yeah. And then Bobcat is adrenaline, so he's like, "Oh, good!" You know, he's always screaming, his hair's perfect. All flying all over the place.
He was the best part of the Hercules movie.
The spaz.
I think they're kind of dazzling. Mark Flannel says, "If we go to Art's Garage, will we find Buzzy next to Avengers #1?
Oh, that'd be cool.
You'll never know.
You know, I'm gonna get all backdoor Disney on you guys right now. I don't care. I'm gonna do this.
And Jam says, "I can't believe no one stole the singing food from the Kitchen Cabaret show. Veggie, fruit. That's lost on me because I've never been able to witness the Kitchen Cabaret show in person. Ooh, what do you got?"
There was a gallery in Hollywood, and in the 90s, when I had money,
yes,
I used to buy stuff, expensive stuff. So Eric, is it his name Goldman or Goldblum? Goldberg?
Goldberg, yeah.
Yeah, we just saw him on something the other day. And so, keeping it in Aladdin theme, these are the cleaned up pencils of Eric Goldberg's work. And so there was a connection I had in Hollywood. I'm not going to name any names. This is also years ago, so don't come after me, Disney.
It's not Backdoor Disney.
Yeah. No, I think that guy was in the womb. Because what did they say? He's 23?
Yeah, he's super young.
Yeah, so I've had this at least 23 years. And so there are people, like if you go, none of this stuff exists anymore. But if you start talking to the shop owners, and you start talking about specifics and what you like, they have back rooms. I'm not kidding. And he's like, "Oh, you like that?" You know, like you say your favorite artist, right? Like Andre Dija or, you know, Eric Goldman or Goldberg or whatever. And they go, "Oh, well, come back here." And then they have, I'm not kidding, Taylor, they have like racks of drawings.
Oh my gosh.
And cells and all kinds of stuff that they don't put on the floor.
Yeah, because they're probably A, too valuable, and B, gosh, how many would they even have? That's so cool.
No, they've been gotten by nefarious.
So you're saying that that's why they're hiding them, not because of the value, but also probably part of it, but because...
No. It's because
they're covertly taken.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, there is a Disney black market.
There is. That's why I did that, because I know firsthand there are.
Pretty.
And I was one of them.
Jam Create says, "Wow, that's awesome." It is awesome. That was a great piece, too.
One of these... if the Jafar ones were, if it was smaller, I'd show you those. But I have some of the animators' drawings of Jafar.
They're so good.
Aladdin, yeah, they're amazing.
I love like they have such flow to them because they're like the pencils.
Because I remember talking to Tom Bancroft, and he says, yeah, Disney keeps a really, really tight rein, and usually the only drawings and stuff you see out there are when the animator sells part of their own work, and I'm not sure they're even allowed to do that as well.
Yeah, like I don't know who knows. They're probably under some pretty strict.
Yeah, it all
rules.
stays. It all stays.
The vault or whatever.
Yeah, It's all owned by Disney.
Ray Through says, Art, did you seriously just confess to receiving stolen property? No.
Well, I don't really know if it was stolen or not.
Just let the story be spicy, Ray Thulu.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be cool right now.
We didn't say anything of the sort.
It was 23 years ago. What is the how much time can go before you're not convicted of a crime? Is there a time?
It was procured legitimately, but we don't know what happened before. That's out of our control.
Yeah, I didn't know it was. I still don't know if it was stolen.
Mark Flannel says, I have a new respect for you, Art. You're like a Bond villain. Lost works of art hidden away in your home.
Yeah, it does make me sound cool, but just to go back for a minute, I really didn't know. Like, I could be speculating at this point, but the thing is, I don't know why somebody would be all that secretive and take you into a back room.
And we'll probably never know.
Yes.
Jam says, I would give anything to get original cells from The Art of Sleeping Beauty. That movie is my favorite Disney animation style. Oh,
yeah. From what I hear, that guy that defined the backgrounds in that, I can't remember his name. He did, Taylor, Sense of Pride. He painted every one of those backgrounds himself.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't have, like, assistants or other people doing any of that. From what I understand, he did it all himself.
He was like a famous painter, right? And didn't he do like a painting for each movie after that?
Maybe. But yeah, I know that they sought him out, and that basically he was the art direction for the entire movie.
That's why that movie has such a strong sense of design, I think, because everything's so consistent.
I love all the angles. It looks very contemporary, just the way they design the characters and everything. They're very angular. Yeah,
it's a very different style, and they've tried to, they have like the shots of all the princesses together and stuff in marketing, and they try to make her look more in line with the contemporary Disney princess look, but that Aurora character looks way more interesting in her own movie style, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know they said that they modeled her after Audrey Hepburn?
I imagine everybody was in love with Audrey Hepburn. The thing is, like, there's like Marilyn Monroe, and everybody's like, oh, Marilyn Monroe. Audrey Hepburn is, one, she's a way better actress, and two, I think she's prettier.
She's very cute. Yeah, she's very unique looking. Kind of delicate. Ray through this says, I just looked up the Cal State statute of limitations. Only 4 years. Now I can't blackmail you.
Oh.
And he says,
I had a strong feeling that I was cleared, but yeah, I stole that. I actually went and I stole that piece.
And he says, dang, I was going to ask for white in a bikini pinup.
Well, if you ask nicely, we might be able to make that happen.
That still could happen. I mean, regardless.
You don't have to blackmail me for that. But it would make it a lot more fun, wouldn't it?
I mean, it would. You could still try, I guess. I thought she was modeled after Katharine Hepburn. Is that true?
Oh,
that seems very silly.
I don't know. Maybe when Katharine Hepburn was younger. Katharine Hepburn for me is kind of like Meryl Streep of today. Like, some people are like, oh, she's pretty. No, she's not.
Now I have to look her up because I can't even picture her young.
Just look at the African Queen and some of that stuff.
I like that movie.
She's a great actress. But I don't think she's gorgeous.
When he has to go in the river with those leeches and like you can tell he really doesn't want to. The look on his face is so sad. Oh yeah, she's a dame. She looks like a kind of a mysterious. She's neat looking.
She's handsome.
She is handsome, yeah. Kind of strong features.
She's kind of like a Sigourney Weaver type. Like she's.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
She's kind of not mannish. I think without insulting, I think they just refer to him as like handsome. She's a handsome woman.
She definitely is. Yeah, she's unique looking for sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's ugly, but she's not gorgeous either, though.
Yeah, kind of distinct though, so I can see why she'd be good at acting. There's a picture of her in a suit dressed like a dude, and she looks like a very attractive man. So, let's see. Art Thief Bear says Jam.
I stole it, I tell you. and what if Ray was it Ray?
Yes.
What if he was just joking and wanted me to confess to it? Right now he's making a citizen's arrest. By the way, you guys, in old films and stuff, like they used to go, "Oh, citizen's arrest." Like as a kid, I always fantasized about a citizen's arrest. Like, oh God, that'd be so cool. Arrest that man. Like you could just. I saw them. He broke into that person's house. He stole Buzzy.
That would be cool. As a kid, you always want to be the hero for the most part.
I did.
I did too.
There's some kids that are like, I want to be horrible to people.
But it's like, what if I just like stumble by? I think you talked about it, Art, as a kid. When you and your friends would like play superhero, like maybe we'll run into somebody in trouble like, to help them.
Yeah, you always wanted to like, or like Goonie style. You always wanted to find like the haunted whatever, and then you wanted to find a dead body, like those old Disney movies. It's like, oh, it's Uncle or it's Grandpa whatever. It's Mr. Whatever from the whatever. He was, missing like 2 months ago.
Did you ever try to find treasure as a kid?
Oh, hell yeah.
One time, and like, I can't remember if it's exaggerated in my child brain, but I remember we were like digging for treasure somewhere out in the canyon, and I found a gigantic bone. And I remember being like, this is weird, because it like almost looked human-sized.
Uh-oh.
And I remember taking it home, and my mom being super concerned, like, where did you get this? And I was like, I like dug it up, and she didn't believe me, and she threw it away. And I look back on that, and like, I can't remember because I was so small if it looked human-sized to me, like as a, child, or if it wasn't like that big. And I often think about that.
You have to ask your mom tonight.
I'll ask her. I haven't talked to her in a while, but I remember she like took it from me. She's like, where did you get this?
Well, because obviously, based on your memory of it, your mom wasn't comfortable with it.
No, she wasn't. So I don't know if it was like, because I remember it wasn't, this sounds kind of gross, it wasn't like white, it was like browned. So I remember being like, looking back and like, oh, maybe it was like, this is stupid, but like how you give dogs like those like toys, like they're like cow bones and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like maybe it was one of those, but I don't know. All I know is it went away.
You didn't get to keep it.
No, I really wanted to.
What if you still had it?
I wish I did, so I could finally settle it in my mind if it was actually like a giant human-sized bone, or if it was just like a small, like,
Would it make you somehow happier right now if you had it?
Yeah, because sometimes I wonder, what if I found something that like legitimately was like a body and it got thrown away and that person will never be found?
You had some kind of evidence. I remember I was young. I was going to say I was a really stupid kid, but I was really young. We're digging in the backyard, and you know how they always go, like, if you dig deep enough, you'll dig your way to China.
Yes.
And like when you're a kid, you think, oh my gosh, that's possible? Like you just like, you actually think it could happen. So I'm digging in the backyard, and I found, get this, I found a piece of china.
What? Are you serious?
No, like a china plate.
I know, but that's hilarious.
I know, but I was
you literally dug to China.
I know, I was so dumb. I was like, is this what they mean? I bring it to my mom, and she's just like laughing, like, you're so dumb.
I think that's hilarious.
I kept it though, just in case, because it meant something to me. I don't have it today, but
Aw,
I remember I kept it.
you literally dug to China. That's hilarious.
I thought, I dug to China. Yeah.
My friend, Jam says, my friend and I found a cemetery in the woods in upstate New York. The dates and the headstones from the 1800s. Ooh, that's cool.
Oh, man. I wish I had a story like that. The closest thing, I think Scott and I reminisced on one of the Kiss Corners, right? There was a Jewish cemetery in Norwalk where we grew up.
That's right.
And it was in the middle of, like we lived in LA County. So it's just a concrete jungle. There's maybe 5 trees even in that whole community. And so I remember riding my bike and there's this fence, just like beat up chain link fence. And there's just a bunch of overgrown shrubs and trees, which is very odd, for Norwalk. And I just remember looking through the trees and stuff. And there was a cemetery in there. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And it was right in the middle of a neighborhood.
Eerie.
Yeah, it wasn't like in an industrial area or any kind of businesses. It was right in the community.
There's I'm assuming it was super old and they just went around it.
Oh, it was ancient, yeah. It had to have predated all those houses there.
There's an old cemetery out here. It's kind of well known now called Spadra that's like that, hidden out in Pomona area or Walnut, I guess, area. That's the closest I can think of. I would have loved to stumble upon something like that as a kid. Did you go explore?
I think later, me and my friends, we rode our bikes over there and we went through the fence and checked it out.
To be a kid again and to be exploring spooky things.
Well, just as an adult, you're just like, it's an old cemetery. Like, you don't even think twice about it. But as a kid, you're like, ooh, I found something cool.
Or you're afraid of getting chased by homeless.
I don't remember ever that. Did that happen to you?
The last time we went to Spadra, which was years ago, there was some homeless dude that I brought cigarettes with me in case there were homeless people. And
you're a smoker.
I've never smoked in my life, but I gave him some to make him go away, and then he wouldn't leave us alone, so we had to flee. Because I think he was mentally ill.
Probably.
So I was like, take this whole box and go away.
I like that you were like, it's like, I used to love the movies where, there's dogs around the perimeter, and then they bring like bacon or like some kind of meat, there's like a piece of steak wrapped in the guy's pocket, He pulls it out, gives it to the dog, and then pets the dog on the head, and then just walks right in the house.
I still bring a pack of cigarettes with me if we go on road trips and stuff for that reason.
For the homeless?
To get them away.
That's a major assumption that all homeless people smoke, though. That's kind of insulting, Taylor.
Well, they usually appreciate it. Just saying. It'll usually, if you want them to leave you alone.
I have to ask, what was the origin of that idea? Because I'd never heard anybody doing anything like that before.
Because I wanted to get into, when I was dabbling in bad photography, I wanted to take pictures of abandoned places, like that water park and stuff I have on Facebook. And one of my older friends who used to do that told me to always bring cigarettes as a barter tool in case you run into homeless people. That they appreciate it. So thanks, Mike. That was always his advice.
And Mike right now, dead. He was shivved by a homeless person.
I mean, he's probably come close. And it's helped in the past. Although sometimes it makes them pushier, but
Do you have cigarettes in your car right now?
I think I do, actually, but I think they're herbal. Because they were in a variety pack. Draken says, in jail, maybe. Probably. But it does help occasionally.
He does look a lot like that guy that broke into Mile High.
No!
Man, this show is getting all criminal.
I know. How do we get on this?
There's a theme going on here.
Buzzy's stolen. The comics are stolen.
Your cigarettes were stolen.
I had to give them away. They are expensive. I don't envy people with a smoking habit. Although sometimes they'll get you in more trouble because they feel like they're opening up a conversation. But, cigs are currency even if they don't smoke, says Ray Thulu.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, it helps.
Wait a minute. How come Ray knows that?
I don't know. Are you a hiker, Ray? Because I remember that's where I first heard it. If you run into randos, they did quell an unfortunately insane homeless man on the Claremont Loop one time because I couldn't understand him, so I gave him some.
I thought smoking was currency in prison, so it's currency on the street as well with homeless?
Well, a lot of those people have been in prison too.
What?
I didn't want to touch on that part, but
there definitely is a theme going on.
That's what, base currency. I'm not saying all homeless people have been to jail. I'm just saying there's some crossover. Anyway.
There may be some similarity.
There may be, unfortunately. But look at those hatches. How about that?
All of a sudden, what I'm doing here is less important.
After we alluded to stolen Disney product and everything else.
I'm getting all high horsey with yeah, people that steal stuff. Look at this. I didn't steal it though. I paid top dollar for that.
Yeah, I mean it's different. I wonder if it's harder, what the art collection scene is like these days. With all, the online marketing and stuff. Do you think people even do, major gallery sales like that? Or do you think everything's just handled online, when it hits auction?
I think most of the stuff's all, auction and online. I don't think anybody has brick and mortar stores like that anymore. There used to be that Chuck Jones gallery, and what was it? Was it Laguna?
That's right. That was pretty cool. At least to browse.
I have a Chuck Jones Grinch.
Ooh, an original?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Iconic.
You've seen it, right?
I believe I have. My aunt, of all people, has a Grinch, but she won it at some... It was weird. She won it at some, office party or something, a cell from that.
An actual cell?
Yes. And she used to have it up in her house when I was a kid.
Those things are expensive.
Yeah, it was oh, you know what? It wasn't from work. It was from a children's hospital thing.
Because they used to make those Sarah cells. They were copies. So it was a cell, but it was a copy.
I'm willing to bet it was probably a copy and not an original.
Yeah, those things at the time they were probably $1,200-$1,500 maybe. No, they're probably $2,500.
Wow. I mean, who knows how much they're worth now?
We should look it up because I have one.
Really?
Not a Sarah cell, but an actual.
I'll look it up.
Grinch. Ooh, should I go get it?
That thing is class. If you can easily access it, it's not gonna be a pain.
I'll go get it.
Grinch original. It's a cell, right?
Yeah. It's signed by Chuck Jones.
See, this is why it's gonna be hard to see. Ooh, it's signed too. Is that also from the same kind of gallery?
I think this was from a Chuck Jones private show. I'm not sure. I don't remember how I got it. It's probably backdoor Disney.
I'm gonna try to find a price. Let's see. See, this is the thing. I don't want to price it by, because as I'm looking this up, there's some stuff on eBay, but that's not gonna be accurate, I bet. Most of these are in the 4,000 range. Wow, you know what? There's actually not a lot of them.
Man, this one's heavy.
There's actually not a lot of them on this online market that I thought there would be.
This one's a good one. It's a good one.
Ooh, look at that. That is a good one. That's actually better than a lot of these ones. Because there's this one I found on the iPad that's also signed. It has the same sticker on it. It's not as good as the one that you have. It's not like a face shop, but this one is $6,000, almost $7,000.
This one's worth at least that.
I would say the one you've probably worth more because it's actually it's a way better shot.
And I think what they started doing to get past the forgeries and theft is they'd have certificates.
That's because they had to. I
Yeah.
bet. This one is similar, and it is $1,895 for sale. But this is from someone's private collection, so they're just listing it.
Is it a headshot?
It's a headshot, but they're just listing it personally, so they may have a lower price because it's just them.
Is it one of those where that's like a asking price or starting price, and then it goes up from there?
Starting bid, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Original signed Chuck Jones production sell. Yeah. So that's their starting price is almost $2,000. I'm actually surprised it's not way more. Almost everything else in their gallery has sold, so who knows if they actually know the accurate value of what it is. Considering the other one was that it had bids on it and it was already at $6,000 and wasn't a face shot, I would think that yours is worth more, even above that range.
Who knows?
If you know, let us know, and don't listen to this ad that just popped up on my phone.
I'm enticing Backdoor Disney to come break into my house.
Jam says, it fell off a truck, right, Art?
Yeah, it did. It was just there in the street.
And Mark Flannel says, my heart just grew 3 sizes.
I want to say it is from that scene, because it looks like that, like the starting of that scene.
It does. Jam says, off topic kind of, but what do you guys think of the attraction posters for the Disney parks? I love them.
Oh my gosh, those things are awesome. Yeah, I do too.
Do they sell those?
I think they sell reproductions, yeah. And there's a friend of mine, Brian Miller, that he does that type of style, but he does like Star Wars and different types of prints, but they look like they're in that kind of 50s, 60s, very graphic style, like those Disney attraction posters.
Pretty cool style.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever gone like out of style, that old ad poster type 60s look.
He does those shows too. They have these art shows at Epcot, like annually or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so they open it to different art vendors and stuff. And so he always has a table there.
Does he sell originals or like?
Sells originals. Most of those are all like high-end prints. What are they called? Glacis or something like that.
Jam says, I have a coffee table book full of Disney attraction posters. It's so great.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff.
We were watching something recently and they showed an old Disney map that I don't think we had ever seen that was really cool. Because those are pretty neat too. You have like an original map, right, Art?
Yeah, it's from early 70s. I wish I had the map just before that, because the map before that has that Edison Square that was never built in the map. It like predates New Orleans Square for the California Disney park.
It's really cool. It's a huge map.
Yeah, they used to just sell those to people.
Simeon7 just joined us. Hey, Simeon.
What's up?
If you could replace California Disney with anything, what would you replace it with, Art?
What do you mean?
Like if you could repurpose that park into something else.
Turn it into a parking lot? Turn it into a comic shop, like a crazy comic shop?
Ooh.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know. What would you do?
I don't know either.
Did somebody ask that in the chat?
No, I was just thinking about it because I think somebody asked last time about it when we were talking about Walt's Vault. I don't know. It's some pretty prime real estate. That's where they should have put Star Wars Land. Um, I think it's so you just brought something up about the comic store. It's kind of weird that Downtown Disney doesn't have like a big comic store, like Universal did.
The reason Universal does is that's owned by Dark Horse, or that comic shop, I believe. And Dark Horse had a development deal with Universal, so they have offices there on the studio lot.
But now that Disney owns Marvel, you'd think that they'd have like a Marvel exclusive store or something. They easily could. I don't know how much space they have left. I haven't been to Downtown Disney in a super long time.
Well, those are interesting questions that I don't understand why they don't. I think maybe that's the biggest question of all. Why doesn't Marvel promote the comics more, or even DC for that matter?
Drawkin says Disney wouldn't want to have the comic store because who would want to sell their Marvel products?
Yeah, who would buy their Marvel products?
Yeah, more like
the contemporary stuff. Yeah.
Ray says they should repurpose the whole lot as a big Airsoft's paintball arena. Don't even need to tear anything down. Just cut the power. Ooh, that would be very cool.
That'd be scary, man. In the dark at night.
That'd be fun, though.
Yeah. They should open it up to paintball night.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? Knott's Berry Farm could do that.
I'm surprised Knott's Berry Farm hasn't done something like that, considering.
What was a friend of mine did paintball, and he was at one of the local paintball places out here in SoCal. And Rob Liefeld had like the what was it called? Like the Extreme Spaceship or whatever it was. And he had it made for San Diego Comic-Con. And it was so big, I don't think he could do any other shows with it. So, I don't know, somehow it got sold to that paintball place. So now you can kind of go around and dart in and out of an Extreme Youngblood, I guess, spaceship or something.
I would love to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm sure Rob paid a ton of money for that thing.
How big was it?
It was full size. You could walk in it. It was like an attraction at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was like a prop. Like you could go in it, you could walk around. I guess they had instrument panels that you could push buttons and stuff. And Rob turned like his San Diego was a lot like just like the Disney parks. He had people dressed like Chapel.
Oh my gosh.
He had people dressed like Bad Rock. Like he had a full Bad Rock suit made.
Did he hire people to wear it, or were they just like friends?
Actors and stuff to wear them and things. Yeah. One year with the Bad Rock suit, I guess Rob thought it would be funny, and he got in the suit.
Oh my gosh.
And walked around, and I guess he thought it was funny because no one knew it was Rob, so they were just treating him like the guy that was in the costume.
That's hilarious. He had some vision for where he wanted to take it. I was hoping I could find a picture of the ship.
Oh, there's gotta be pictures of this thing.
I'm sure they exist. There's so many different like airsoft parks and stuff with fake.
Oh, you're trying to find that picture of it.
Yeah, I was hoping to find it at the airsoft places to see what kind of shape it's in now.
Can you find just the ship itself?
Let me see. Extreme Studios.
San Diego Youngblood spaceship, maybe?
I bet I can find it. Let's see. Extreme Studios.
I don't even know how they got it there.
Because if it's that big, that had to be some crazy transport. I wish people went all out like that now.
Well, what was it? Todd McFarlane had a funny car, like a Spawn funny car.
That's kind of cool.
And he brought it to the show.
Darn it. I'm looking. I can't find it. Give me some time. I'm sure I can find it in time for the next show. Nick W says Marvel's current comics would drive people away from the store.
Yeah. I didn't know how bad it was, you guys. I heard a lot of people online talking about it, and then Taylor and I were at WonderCon a couple months back, and a person that watches our show brought up a comic book. Was it a Hawkeye comic?
Yes.
And it had like how to draw a Hawkeye on the cover, and it was, like Marvel had pride. They used to have how to draw the Marvel way, and they had John Buscema draw it, with Jack Kirby, stuff in there, and all kinds of like A-list, really, artists in the book, and then there's this thing that she showed us, and it was so off-putting. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is what is passing for art now. Who was it? It was that Archie guy that drew it. What is his name?
Oh, I can't remember, but I don't know if he did the interiors, but they were even worse somehow.
Yeah, the cover, it was like they're telling you how to draw, but by a really bad person that can't draw very well. Like, what is this? Why would you do this? This is what you want as like to define the new Marvel style?
Yeah, it was
What was it? Chip Zdarsky?
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 Is that who it was? God, it was terrible. It was like jarring, actually.
I haven't worked for Marvel in 20 years. Well, it's probably not quite 20 years, but close to it. And I never, that the new management there, I think are horrible. They're absolutely just abysmal. I never regretted not working there.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like all of their struggles they're having right now, they brought upon themselves.
Yeah.
And it's just in a really strange place as a company, because like you were saying, Marvel used to be like the cream of the crop when it came to like people working there, and now it's like amateur hour.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I don't know if it's to save money or if it's to take control, because one of the things that happened in the day was there's definitely a mantra or a mission statement that Marvel has, and they subscribe to that. It's not the individual, it's the character. The characters are what sells. The individual doesn't. So the reason Image Comics was formed and a lot of that stuff shifted over and changed is because it was like a battle of, it wasn't just money, it was a battle of ideology. It was, they wouldn't admit that the creatives that were working on those books had anything to do with the sales. And that's totally ridiculous. It can't even partially be true, because those books weren't selling that before. And once they left and once that whole trend went away, they didn't sell that again. So I don't think it's just the characters. I think it's who does the characters. And even the Marvel movies, like, okay, you have these Fantastic Four movies that came out. Well, were those big box office draws? No. Some of these other movies that they did, were those huge? No, because it's not just about the characters. It's about the people, the actors, the different creative people that are making these films as well. So I never liked that idea that they were just so arrogant that they wouldn't concede the point that maybe the people that were drawing the books and writing the books had something to do with the sales of the book.
Yeah.
The success of the book.
They won't give it to them for some reason.
Yeah. So then we all went to Image Comics and proved them wrong. So there you go. But present day, the reason I think maybe part of the reason they're doing what they're doing is because they never want to create another Todd McFarlane. They don't want to create another Jim Lee. So I think they're out to prove that the comics will sell themselves. The characters will sell the comics. Marvel will sell the comics, not the individual artists. And I think they're losing that battle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't read a Marvel comic in forever. Simeon7 says, management likes characters because they are eternal. Creators die, get sick, or move to work for better pay, etc.
Yeah, but I think just like anything else, you should acknowledge somebody's contribution.
Yeah.
I mean, Marvel went all the way to the point of, not returning Jack Kirby's artwork.
It's horrible.
And a lot of those guys, I remember having conversations with Lin Wein about, he would say, DC takes way more better care of people that create there than Marvel does. And he said, case in point, I made more off Lucius Fox, that one character from DC, than I did creating Wolverine, the new X-Men, and everything else that he's ever created for Marvel.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. People give they give Chris Claremont a lot of credit for the new X-Men, but it really was Lin Wein's creation.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of credit in general for his contributions, Lin Wein.
Yeah, I don't think he does either. Now that new Swamp Thing show, that's Lin created Swamp Thing.
Yeah, is that show going to be on network TV or is that on the streaming service? Do you know?
I don't know, but from what I saw of it, it looked pretty good.
I have to look into it because I know one of the actors from Aquaman is going to be in it. And I haven't seen anything. Swamp Thing TV show. Let's see. Well, there's the old Swamp Thing TV show. Derek Mears playing Swamp Thing. By Michael Beach. Oh, Michael Beach from Aquaman is going to be playing Nathan Ellery.
Who's Michael Beach?
He was...
The villain?
I believe he was the villain in Aquaman. He was, let me see. He was in If Beale Street Could Talk, and he played...
Is he the Watchmen guy?
I think he played Black Manta, but I have to be sure.
Oh, okay. He's not the guy I'm thinking then.
Yeah, he's not the Ocean Master or anything.
Okay.
If this ad wasn't blocking this, I could read it. He looks older in this picture, but I think he is. Well, I wanted to read it, but apparently the ads on this article will not let me. Swamp Thing is one of those comics I'm really surprised had like mainstream success. Let's see. 2019.
Well, once again, maybe Bernie Wrightson had a little bit to do with that. I mean, Lin Wein created him, but that first run was drawn by Bernie Wrightson.
Pretty cool.
It's pretty amazing.
Let's see. Quite a niche for itself. Apparently Swamp Thing is airing on DC Universe.
Okay.
The character had a live action film by horror master Wes Craven in 1982. I've never seen that. Have you?
I think I saw the very first one, if that's the one they're referencing. It's not bad. I mean, it's pretty cheesy, but...
I know it kind of became like a cult classic. It had a little scene sequel, a short-lived basic cable series, which I never knew. And the critical response to the new Swamp Thing is running very positive. And it's going to have an initial 10-episode run.
Yeah, the trailer looks good. I'll definitely check it out.
There's an early review. Swamp Thing excels in many ways, and the way the series consistently downplays over-the-top moments stands out as a big plus in the early episodes available for review. The narrative comes across as grounded, not because the creative team got exhaustive in the minutia, but because the performances and the score simply aren't overextended for dramatic impact. There is some mild camp to be found if one looks hard enough, but Swamp Thing expertly cuts the genre fat to keep audience locked in suspense. It's deeply rooted in horror.
Yeah, it looks more like it's a horror film.
Swamp Thing has a truly unique aesthetic and visual tone for any DC show or film we've seen in years, and takes full advantage of the DC Universe's rated R approach with fantastic creature effects and body horror inspirations. Interesting.
There's like, how they do those effects where there's all these tendrils that come off of people and things like that. Well, like, they do that a lot in the Swamp Thing. Where there's just all these, like, but they look less organic, like tree stuff, and almost like they're coming from the human. So I don't know, they're kind of gory looking. So there's all these branches and like roots and stuff that come off them, but they almost look like arteries and, like internal organs.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I like that they didn't go with the obvious, just like plant stuff.
I think, I'm not sure, I only saw it once, but I thought that maybe once they kind of get out of the body or whatever, that they kind of become more tree-like. But when they first come, and I'm not sure that was even the Swamp Thing character that I'm thinking about. It might have been another character. He's in like a hospital or something, and all this stuff comes off of him.
Raythulu says, Art, how would you react to someone reprinting some of your work but scrubbing your signature off? Just wondering, because apparently DC did just that to Ethan's latest Lantern Rebirth work.
What?
I had heard about that. They did a reprint of his like Green Lantern run, but it didn't have his signature on the cover.
I've had my name not put in credits, and I have had my name cropped off of credits before. I've been miscredited. So I don't know if that's an actual slight or just the editor not doing their job. I would have to see if it was actually scratched off. If that's the case, that's horrible.
Yeah. Agreed.
Taylor and I were just talking about a little bit about this. We talk a lot, actually. Before we went live, and I don't understand why anybody even has a problem with any of us.
Yeah.
I don't. Everybody seems like it seemed pretty normal to me. There's times that things get out of control, but we're humans. Everything has potential to get out of control. Extreme Studios was out of control. Like, every studio structure I've ever worked in has a tendency to get nutty at times. So I don't even know what any of this stuff's about, to be honest. It seems so weird. And if it's all politically motivated, it's like, well, get a grip, people. Everybody isn't going to agree with everything the masses or a certain group want. So there's always going to be a difference of opinion. I don't even know how you can be an adult human being and not understand that basic idea. Why do you think there's two parties? Why do you think all of this stuff happens? If you wanted to take the two-party system away, then you just have one choice. You don't even have a choice. You just have the one person. Is that what you want? Do you fundamentally just want your way 100% all the time? It's absolutely ludicrous. I don't even understand what they're screaming about. Because the only thing I can think of is that they're after Ethan because of his political leanings.
Ray says apparently they scrubbed his name off the cover. I'm assuming on the actual cover art it was removed on the...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when you really think about it. Like, I don't know. Like, they're going to come after somebody for saying they don't like Star Wars or something. Like, how egregious have things been?
Well, like I said, how childlike are you? Like, no one's ever disagreed with you. You've never had opposition with another person. It seems highly unlikely that you could go through life and never be opposed. You know what I mean? Like, no one's ever disagreed with you.
Yeah.
That's all this is. It's a disagreement. Most of the time, if you think about it, you're probably, 95% of the time in complete lockstep agreement. But there's just this one thing that you can't abide. Oh, he's a Republican or whatever the hell it is. It's pretty absurd.
Jam says, sometimes I think they just don't like that we have fun, and everything they seem to stand for is eliminating all fun.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It boggles my mind. It simply boggles my mind. I don't think that way. I never have. I'm not that guarded in my life. I just kind of do. I try, my mom always said, do unto others, how you would want done to you. So I always try to remember that. I know it sounds very, simple and childlike or whatever, but I do believe that those fundamentals are true. So I don't understand most of this crap.
Jurakan says, in this world, when people disagree with you, they're either an authority or you just erase them from your world via blocking, muting, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all still very childlike. It's like, it's the equivalent of putting your fingers in your ear and yelling so you can't hear the opposition like a child would.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can't hear you. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy. Well, that's sad. I mean, that's gonna be Ethan's cross to bear. I wonder what he's gonna do about it, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, if it's already done. It does suck, though.
It would be hard to prove that it was done out of any malice or anything.
Yeah, you'd have to really kind of fight them to even get... It'd be a hard battle to fight. Simeon says, in my country, one company has the rights to reprint all the Spider-Man comics from the 80s for whatever reason. They erase the signatures for the covers every single time.
Wow. Good to know.
Thought you guys are talking about Swamp Thing here. Let's see. I love the Swamp Thing TV show. It's just the right kind of cheesy, says Jam. And Simeon says, let's see. Ever since what you guys are talking about, the movie was decent. The first was better, despite having Adrian Barbeau in it.
I know some people would disagree with you on that one.
And Jam says, the first movie had Adrian Barbeau, and then the sequel was a comedy that basically had Heather Locklear in it.
Oh, that's right. Little scrawny blonde.
I forgot all about that.
It's so weird, like the movie poster, like she looks like a little kid, like her head's all big and stuff. It's weird looking.
That's funny.
America's fascination with Heather Locklear.
I think she always had kind of a large head.
Large childlike head.
Wasn't she in she was in like a brief, or she was like a minor character in Logan's Run as well when she was like super young?
Was she?
Maybe not. No, who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of maybe I'm thinking of Farrah Fawcett or something. There was somebody in that movie that was really unexpected.
Yeah, I think it's that Farrah Fawcett actress. I think the other one, Heather Locklear was she in? Oh my gosh, she was in some kind of nighttime soap or something. I want to say she was in that show, that cop show with James T. Kirk, but that was another chick, or was it that Heather Locklear?
I don't know. It might have been
T.J. Hooker. That's T.J. Hooker.
Oh
God. That's so weird to think, like, William Shatner as a cop. I gotta watch that. I'm sure that's hilarious.
I've never actually watched it before.
I don't think I had either. Yeah.
Oh man, we haven't even talked about how we were watching The Prisoner yesterday.
Oh, you talk about a head trip.
Yeah, that was an interesting experience.
Yeah, I had never seen it all my life. You know, you kind of grow up liking some of the geekier things, and you go to conventions and you see things all the time at these shows, but you don't necessarily have experienced them firsthand. They just kind of seem like they're mainstays of comics or these type of shows, and so the Prisoner was always intriguing to me, and so yeah, we watched some episodes the other day while we were working. What were your thoughts, Taylor?
I got distracted because Cece says, "Hey, Art and Tag, I just bought the black and white original art. This book looks incredible."
Oh, well, thank you, Cece.
Yes, thank you. Please enjoy.
Yes, awesome.
I was thrown off by that good news.
There's good news. Or good news, there's good rockin' tonight.
Braithulu says, "I love The Prisoner. I am not a number. I am a free man."
You are number 6. Who is number 1?
A bunch of people in the chat are saying, "I'm not a number."
I think the coolest thing that when we were looking at stuff yesterday was there's prisoner conventions or something.
Yes.
They're not exactly conventions. They're like some kind of cosplay thing. And these are all rich people because they go to that village where they filmed the whole show. It's some island and it's gorgeous. And they go there and they dress like the characters, and they basically every one of the people that are there become, what do they call that? Like props, or they become part of the show.
Yeah, they all dress up in like prisoner cosplay because people in the village dress a particular way.
Yeah, so they just walk around and
they do have props though, right?
Yeah, they bring in vehicles and all kinds of stuff. So for, I guess, lack of a better word, it becomes, for that weekend or whatever, it becomes the village.
It's Port Marion.
Yeah.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Is the name of the island where the prisoner was set, and like Art's saying, they have some kind of festival / prisoner convention. They call it like, don't they call it like the number 6 something? And everybody gathers there.
They call it, oh my gosh, it's a phrase from the show. Not the thigh bone connects to the...
Oh, but gosh.
It's some...
No.
If you guys watch that show, you know what I'm talking about. My gosh, that last episode just... What do they call it? Jumping the shark or nuking the fridge?
I hated that young guy character that kept going, "Damn bones, damn..." But he was
oh, that's it, them bones. Yeah.
He was so obnoxious. And he wouldn't shut up. We were like working and listening to it. And it was super distracting because like... At first I thought it was glitching and looping because he was saying it so much. But no, it was the final episode.
Yeah, I thought that the premise of the show started off really strong. Like the first maybe 4 episodes are pretty intriguing. And then it goes into Loopyville like the last... I don't know, we didn't watch it after that because it started getting a little silly. But that last episode was insane.
Yeah, it really was.
Spoiler alert. I guess number 1 is a guy in a monkey mask. And then he pulls the monkey mask off, and then it's him, right?
Yeah, it was another him. So he was number 1, it seemed, at first.
Yeah, I guess it was supposed to be kind of heady, and you know, like good sci-fi doesn't necessarily give you the answers. They just kind of pose questions. But I don't know what the hell they were trying to do here. I usually like weird stuff like that, but man, this was even too weird for me. How about you?
Yeah, it was... We watched like a making of that kind of cleared some things up after. Where in the making of they kind of explained that the creator was suffering like a major nervous breakdown.
And they said he wrote the last episode in 36 hours. Like nonstop. He didn't sleep. He
locked himself up in like a room, they said, and emerged 36 hours later. He's like, okay, here's the script we're working from. And then they described a horrific event where there was a woman that was like editing
Oh, that poor
the
lady.
film, and she said he came in all distraught, and she's like, I don't know how to edit this. I can tell what's going on. And he was just like, she said that she was like almost in tears because he was just like, I don't know, just do it. And she's like, I don't know what to do. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
He didn't even have direction for this poor lady.
Yeah.
He wrote it, he directed it, and he couldn't give her any input. I wonder if his check cleared. Like, I didn't pay him.
I know. Let's see. The town holds an annual convention in Wales, says Ray Thulu. And Jam says, rich people LARPing.
Exactly. Like, to go to that island, you had to have some bucks. And then wasn't there like some woman, and she's all talking about her husband. It's like, yeah, my husband has one of these T-whatevers. That's the car he drove. And he had it flown into the island. And he drives it around on the weekends.
Yeah, it was just, shipped onto an island. A custom car. That's how we knew. We were like, okay, never mind. These are really rich people. Apparently, it's called the 6 of 1.
That's it. Yes. That's what it was. The 6 of 1.
Which makes sense. The final episode is 100% mind-melding insanity on purpose, says Ray Thulu. Yes.
Yes, Ray Thulu. Yes. You want to read that?
Let's see. Oh, thank you for Cece for buying the original art on black and white. We were just looking at the total right now.
My wife sometimes brings in updates, and so whenever she comes in with those updates, we always get excited. So
let's check in on it.
That was the update. Yes, thank you, Cece.
And enjoy your original artwork. I gotta get on the Black and White Remastered Indiegogo site.
Should we post this one?
Ooh, we could. Yes, thank you. We are at 63,638 right now.
That's cool.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're thinking about putting this one on their next art?
I don't know. They're watching me do it, so maybe.
This is a pretty cool
piece. They have a vested
piece.
interest in it.
Jam says, you need a breaking news sound effect.
That's just in.
Ray says, does she bring in cookies and coffee with the updates at least?
At least. She already comes in with good news. How much more do we need? But yeah, sometimes she does.
That'd be a lot of cookies and cupcakes. Or cookies and coffee, I mean.
Yeah, because we are just that successful. I mean that we really are.
Like every single time.
Was that too braggy?
We have like 4 coffee cups lined up.
She just brings a hot, like what are they, like coffee pot, and she just pours us a, here you go.
A sizzling plate of fajitas. Patrick McGowan said the final episode was weird just to be weird and there's no underlining meaning to it, says Ray Thulu. Yeah, he wrote it in 36 hours.
God, Ray Thulu knows everything.
I know he does.
I want to hang out with Ray.
He has good taste. He knows The Prisoner. He knows Black and White.
He knows Disney.
He knows Disney.
He knows all about thievery.
Those are all our favorite things.
These are a few of my favorite things. What is it? 1 of 6. Black and white. Thievery of the...
Buzzy.
The Buzzy.
This whole Buzzy thing needs to be solved.
It will never be solved. I'm saying it right now.
There
will never be an answer. Patrick is going to take it to his grave.
I would like them, I think you said in the original video too, like years and years from now someone's just gonna find Buzzy and be like, they're not gonna know what it is or like any, because he doesn't even look like Buzzy anymore if it's just his head.
Right.
They're just gonna find him and be like, what the heck is this? Like.
And also, you guys, investing in that kind of rubber is not a good investment because it will decay and it will rot. So eventually Buzzy is just going to disintegrate.
No.
You'd have to put him in an airtight canister or like display case.
And what's the point now that he's already been,
exposed?
Yeah.
He's been exposed for a while now.
The path of Ray Thulu carries both promise of great knowledge and incredible madness. It's part of his charm, says Mark Flannel.
Oh, Mark is like his Ray Thulu's sidekick. Like, you know, he almost seems like an old pulp character, right? It's like he's like a Sherlock Holmes. And then what did you say? He's kind of like
his Watson.
His Watson, yeah.
Ray Thulu and Mark. Jam says, this could be a Tales from the Crypt episode where he steals an animatronic and it comes to life. Cue the cackling Crypt Keeper.
Yes.
I used to think the Crypt Keeper was super terrifying looking as a young child.
And now you just go, oh, that's kind of silly.
Yeah, now it just looks like, I don't even know what that is.
It's the Crypt Keeper.
It looks like Iggy Pop now. But at the time he looked scary.
All that stuff based on the EC stuff? Am I getting that right? The Crypt Keeper and all that from the EC comics?
Is Tales from Beyond the Crypt based on that? Maybe.
I thought the Crypt Keeper and all that they were established in the comics.
That would make a lot of sense back when horror comics were a big thing. They need to come back.
We'll bring them back.
That would be fun, actually.
Tales from the Stacks.
Ooh, that's right. Tales from the Stacks did it. Do they have a narrator character that
Professor Geek himself.
Mark Fennell says, yeah, that's like the old Hammer horror films. They were scary but are tame now.
Do you know that the Hammer films had the rights? I know we're jumping around, but Taylor will. We've been also watching that Patrick McGowan's Scarecrow, the Dr. Sin.
That's right.
Stuff, and the Hammer films made a movie too of Dr. Sin. Dr. Sin. They had to call it something else because Disney had already bought the rights, so it's called something else, but it's based on those books.
Is it called like the Scarecrows of
Romley Marsh?
Yeah.
Romley Marsh? No, it's something that's totally disconnected from the books. They made up something.
Interesting.
At least that's what I think I heard a while back.
It's weird, all of those classic things. Like, they've influenced so much contemporary stuff now.
Well, hell, most of the cast in that first Star Wars movie were all from those Hammer films, weren't they?
Were they?
Like Peter Cushing's and David Prowse, and wasn't even like later the what is the guy's name? Count Dooku? What is his that?
I can't remember the actor's name.
Christopher Lee. I think he's from those Hammer films. Those horror.
A lot of people used to get their start in like horror movies. Now everybody feels like they're just engineered. I was trying to look up the bibliography or filmography of all the Hammer films, but there's so many because I forgot they're still actually like producing things now, I guess, on a small level.
Are they?
Well, it says films produced. They're being credited for The Woman in Black, but I don't know if that's true.
That's interesting.
Because it says The Woman in Black and Let Me In are credited to Hammer Films, and that was back in 2010 and 2012.
It's a British production company, right?
Yes. And I know that they did all the Dracula films, right? And
with that Christopher Lee, I think.
Let's see what they've done here, because I know, okay, they've been around since the 1930s, which is insane. There's actually like, oh my gosh, there's so many movies. I couldn't even read through all of these. I was trying to see what their most current ones were. Revival. Okay, so they had a revival in 2008 for some reason. They did Beyond the Rave, Let Me In, The Resident, Wakewood, The Woman in Black, which is the only ones I know, and this film called The Lodge that's set to come out in 2019. And it actually has a very interesting little... The Lodge is a 2019 American-British horror film directed by Veronica Franz from a screenplay by Sergio Casci. It doesn't really say much about it. But that's the latest Hammer film, I guess, that's coming
That's
out.
cool.
I had no idea they were still making things.
Have you seen? It seems so cheesy, but I actually kind of want to see it. It's Oh, I love this actress. She was in what is the water, the something of water, with the deaf girl and Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Oh, The Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. And it basically starts with like these kids, because I can relate to this because I did these stupid things like, hey, can you buy us some beer?
Oh, you're talking about Moz.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, it's so weird. And then she's kind of looks at him because she's just really sweet, like middle-aged lady.
She looks harmless.
And then you just think she's gonna give them a lecture about like, you shouldn't do that, young people, or whatever. And then she's just like, yes, and you can come to my house or whatever. And it seems kind of weird but harmless. And then, like, all this crazy stuff happens, right? Like, they go to her house.
It looks kind of hilarious in, like, the worst way. Yeah, she's like, welcome to Moz, and they're hanging out in her basement partying. But then she's, like, obsessed with them, and I guess she's a pass with their parents and stuff.
Yeah, it's weird. Like,
it's really strange.
It's really strange, but to me, it's intriguing.
I know, because I've never seen, like, a story like that.
I know.
In a weird way, it's almost plausible, though, because I remember, like, being that age, and there always was some weird older person that'd be like, yeah, you can come hang out. Like, I was like, I could see something like that weird happening.
There was this guy in the neighborhood. I didn't hang out with him, but my brother did. And he was this older guy, and he was in a wheelchair, and he owned the house, but it was like the haunted house, right? He didn't do anything to it, so everything's overgrown. And so he'd get like the neighborhood kids, and he'd pay them, and I guess they would do his yard, and they also would push him around in his wheelchair. So he couldn't drive. So it wouldn't be uncommon to see that guy being pushed by a kid around. Oh my gosh, this sounds creepy.
That actually sounds like an eerie, like, horror movie.
Yeah, and they would push him around, but there was never really just one kid pushing him around. This guy always had an entourage of kids.
Oh, that's weird.
So there'd always be like 3 or 4 kids. So you know that guy was buying them alcohol and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, because he was bribing them in some way.
Yeah.
Oh my, that's actually eerie. Yeah, I saw that same thing. I was like, this is the weirdest concept for a movie.
But I was like you, I was like, this is strangely plausible, though.
And it's like, even though parts that look really bad, it looks intriguing. Like, I actually want to see the story unfold.
And also, I really like her as an actress. Like, she was just so sweet in that, what is that water, was it?
The Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water, thank you. I want to say The Color of Water.
She's a good actress, and she does, like, she looks so harmless and sweet, and I think she's kind of, like, short and small.
Yeah, she looks like, there's no way she could hurt you. And then, I guess somehow she's doing some horrible things to those kids.
Yeah, like, they show the one girl, like, I guess, Ma, like, she's like, you can call me Ma, and she's, like, calling her on a phone, like, don't make me drink alone, like, you gotta come over, and she's like, there's something really weird about this.
You know, there's got to be one scene in that show where that Ma, is it Ma?
I think it's Ma, yeah.
Like, her character just gets ripped, right? And
she's
just, like, all drunk. She's like, hey, stupid kids, I hate you, leave me alone.
Get out of my basement.
Get out of my basement. And then the next day she's like, I'm sorry. Did I, whatever? Yeah, sometimes that happens when I get drunk.
So then you know that there's a bad side.
And then the kids are like strangely forgiving, like, oh, well, as long as you keep buying.
I want to see it now. I'm sold on the concept of Moz.
She's basically, in a strange way, she's creating like this den of inequity. What is that word? Like, she's creating like basically this Paradise Island environment for these kids. You know what I mean? Like, it's a modern day. Remember Pinocchio goes and he smokes
Pleasure
and drinks?
Island.
Pleasure Island, that's it, yeah.
And they don't go over the top with it. It really is like something dumb kids would go to. Like, it's her basement. It's like a downstairs area with just a bunch of junk, but it's like, oh, this is a place where we can party and hang out. It's like, I know, like, kids in high school that would do shit like that just because they have nowhere to be. Like,
I would have done that.
Yeah, like, they don't make it, like, an overly, you know what I mean? It's not all, like, overly clean. It's not like they have a bar. It doesn't look all, like, cool. It looks like a place you would have partied in high school. So you had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's why it's strangely plausible.
Yeah.
I don't know anything else about the movie, but I thought, like, that was pretty intriguing. Because it's just like a normal parking lot. And I'm like, this looks like the cast of, like, what is that, Twilight or something, right? And they just walk up to her. No, they're in a car, right? And she's on foot.
Yeah, she's on foot, and they're in, like, a crappy van in a parking lot by some, like, liquor store or something.
The 7-Eleven or something, yeah.
And they do it very naturally. They ask the one girl, like, you go ask her. Like, they get, like, the one to do it. It looks, interesting.
I think you mean it looks amazing.
At worst, hilarious. At best, unique. A dungeon of carnal corruption, says Durakin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it looks, I have to say, of all the horror movies coming out, at least it looks like a new idea.
Because, you know, there's going to be a creepy scene where some kids are getting it on, like, on a couch.
And she's there.
And she's just looking at them. And then they stop for a minute, and then she's just like, oh, carry on. And then she walks away as she's cleaning the coffee table, like, getting the empties and, like, dusting. Oh, carry on.
I'm sure there's a scene exactly like that, and they're like, oh, she didn't mean to. She was just, you know, she walked in on us. Like,
yeah, it was harmless. And then the one girl's like, no, the way she was looking, it was weird, man. It was really weird. He's like, come on, man. We're going to go back there tonight. She was just cleaning up after us. And then she's like, yeah, I'm just being silly. And then she's going to be in a dumpster somewhere.
Then murder. That's how those things go. Let's see. I liked... Oh, you guys are talking about the Hammer movies. Yes, Hammer started back up a few years ago. I mean, they have a lot to live up to.
They have quite a history.
Mark Flannel says they should do a horror film that does the opposite of the horror tropes. If they're making out, they're spared. If the person is a jerk, they don't get killed first, etc. So, like, the nerdy, like, nice girl that's into horses gets killed and is the only one who dies. That would be hilarious.
That's why I like that Tucker and Dale, because they set those guys up like they're the homicidal maniacs, right? Those guys are gonna kill all those co-eds, and then they're like the sweetest guys.
That movie's so good. I hope he makes something new soon.
I liked that director-writer. I don't even know his name.
He also directed, if you guys don't know, a movie we talk about a lot, Little Evil, which is a very good movie on Netflix.
I want to say those things are guilty pleasures, but those movies are really pretty good.
I love the tone of them. Like, there's little, like, the things in them are funny, but they're so fast-paced that they don't have, like, a pause for laughter type moment, which I hate anyway.
Yeah.
But, like, they have that moment, like, where they set up the gag where the guy's like, yeah, they talk about their wedding, and, like, the one uncle, and he's like, yeah, he's the only one that didn't show up. And then when they show the wedding video where a catastrophe happens, you see the uncle in the foreground, like, run for your lives, and get, like, sucked into, like, tornado.
Tornado, yeah.
And he's like, oh my gosh, like, that's him.
There's Uncle Whatever.
Tucker and Dale is hilarious, says Raythulu. It's really good.
That movie, like I said, I always want to say guilty pleasure, but man, it's just a good movie. And it's weird, you know it's a good movie when they have some really bad actors in it.
Yes.
It like a lot of those kids that play the co-eds, the college kids or whatever, some of those actors are really bad. And that guy that plays the main villain, the kid, spoiler alert, that guy is a horrible, horrible actor. But somehow it adds to the charm of the movie. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The guy that it's so funny. The premise is like his parents were the they were the original murderers or something, right?
Yeah, they were like serial killers that lived in the cabin or something, right?
That Tucker and Dale bought. And even there's like a wall of shame, or I forget what they call those, like where, psychos put up the wall.
It had like a bunch of pictures, like the eyes cut out and stuff.
Right, and stuff. And they like, oh, that's interesting. Like, but that's like that kid's family.
Yeah.
And that he was like a product of like a bunch of psychos.
So he's the evil one in the end.
But strangely, he knows about his past. But he knew about his past, but he put a spin on it?
He thought it was like cool. Like he was all charmed by it, and that's what he wanted. He wanted to bring those kids out there to try to murder them or something. Because he was like, he thought it was like his destiny or something, because his family was these like prolific killers. Yeah. It's really weird, but it's done in a very funny, interesting way.
No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to poop on your point. I don't know this for sure, but he blamed them or their kind for killing his parents, right?
I don't remember that.
He actually liked his parents, I thought.
I thought he never really knew about them. Somebody correct me.
But I think he totally worshipped them for some reason. And so he recognized, like, I don't think he went there to kill them, because he didn't know that
I mean his friends he went there to kill, I thought.
Went to kill his friends?
I thought that's why he brought them to the woods in the first place.
Well, he didn't kill any of them.
No, I know, but I thought that was his plan. I could be totally off base here. I was trying to find the college kids are suicidal.
I think he just starts coming unglued when he meets those guys, and he starts kind of having not flashbacks, but like memories of this stuff that happened. And so then he starts, for some reason, seeing them.
It says, Chad says his grandmother told him that his father was killed in the Memorial Day massacre, and his mother was the lone survivor. So then afterwards, when he ties up Allison and everything, and Dale arrives to rescue her, it says, Dale arrives and rescues Allison. The two barricade themselves inside the upstairs office, where they discover news clippings revealing that Chad's father was a serial killer and rapist, not one of the victims. Chad becomes enraged, and Dale stops his attack by throwing a box of chamomile tea at him and giving him an asthma attack. So he didn't know.
That's right, yeah.
And then they revealed that his dad was the killer of the massacre.
And that his dad raped his mom or whatever, and he was a product of that?
Yeah, she was the lone survivor. Let's see. The deaths appear a result of a bizarre suicide pact, and the deranged killer who is Chad who had survived the fall.
God, that movie's so good.
It is really good. You guys need to watch it. Like, it's an unexpected treasure. And Ray Lewis says his dad was the hillbilly psycho killer.
That's right. Okay.
Because isn't he like, I'm part hillbilly?
Yeah, he does. He starts like loathing himself. Like, this can't be. Like, he finds the truth out.
It's a bizarre, interesting take on that sort of genre movie.
And the only, like, Tucker and Dale never kill any of the kids, but do they kill that? Is it Tucker? I forget which one is the kind of chubby lead character.
Accidentally, because it says they threw chamomile tea at him and he got an asthma attack.
And then he falls or something, right?
Apparently he survived to the end, according to Wikipedia. I thought he had died from it, but I guess he survived his fall and they took him in at the end of the movie.
Oh, okay.
So off screen he was,
sneezing fit.
Disposed of with the police.
Man, there's one all the kids die by their own hand, which is hilarious. It's also pretty gruesome. There's that one guy that the bees are chasing.
Oh, yeah.
He just runs onto that broken tree. Oh, man. That thing gets me. The other stuff you can kind of see coming. The wood chipper and all that other stuff. But that one, man.
That's the worst one. The thing's rough to watch.
And he doesn't die right away, so he's just like...
Yeah, it's bad.
I'm laughing because I'm like...
Impaled.
It's nervous. It's nervous laughter.
Ugh, that was the worst one. I'll never forget that one.
Yeah. Because also that kid kind of looked like a normal, like he didn't seem like he, like if he lived longer, he probably wouldn't have been a jerk at all. Like he seemed the most innocent out of all of them.
Yeah, he did. Even the cop dies by his own hand by leaning against that loose support beam, says Ray Thulu.
I know. That, like, it's weird because they set it up, but it still seemingly comes out of nowhere. And that's when you know that was a booby trap, right? By that psychopath.
I think so, yeah.
It was like those guys just go, oh, it's a leaky board, or it's a creaky board, and it's just not nailed up right. We better fix that before somebody gets hurt. And of course they don't fix it. And then that cop gets it.
And Little Evil, like, that is one thing Little Evil has, like, a body count that they don't really address at the end of the movie. Because, like, there were, like, the teacher died and stuff, and they just kind of...
The teacher jumps out a window or something, right?
Yes. Because Little Evil's basically about, like...
The Omen.
The stepdad to, like, a kid that's like Damien from The Omen. Like, what if he just had a really good dad?
Man, the genius of that movie is that stupid dad support group.
Yes.
And that woman. God, how do you think of that stuff?
I know, it's hilarious.
She's like, dude, like she just talks like a guy.
She's in the stepdad group.
Oh, that's what it is, right?
And she has the monster truck where she's just like talking about the stepson and like, yeah, like he doesn't have any interest in that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know what to do about it.
And then when she gets in the truck, you hear like Rush's Tom Sawyer play. Right? Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
The movie's so good.
God, I want to see it right now.
I know, I kind of want to own it.
I should give that guy my money.
Who knows what he's working on next? A lot of people want him to work on Tucker and Dale too, but I don't know, I kind of want to see him do something new. Just because Little Evil was so good.
Little Evil was a Netflix original, is that right? Or was it, what was that?
Yes, it was a Netflix original. So hopefully they give him more. Like, I'd be down to see some more Netflix original movies. I'd like to see him do something bigger budget, but he's been able to work with it.
I think, sometimes those guys have to be more creative when they don't have the budget, because, I don't know, that guy makes it work with whatever he has. They're so perfect. He got Clancy Brown in that Little Evil.
Yeah, he got some good people in that. Like, normal movie stars, some mainstream people.
What's her name? Evangeline Lilly?
And the guy that plays the stepdad as well.
He's in a new show. That guy is weirdly compelling. He's not hard funny, but there's something about that guy.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's really good.
He right now is in, or he was, and he's in the second season as well. He's in Big Little Lies, and he's very, very good in that. Playing against surprisingly good Reese Witherspoon.
Hey, okay, I know you know the answer to this. Was he the dad in the Krampus?
He was the dad in Krampus. Yes, he had a beard in that, I believe.
God, he's so good.
He is. He's really good. He usually plays a dad these days.
Because he seems caring.
Yeah, he does.
And then when things happen, he just kind of has that, it's not over the top, but just this look of kind of, what the heck is going on? But it's not like really obvious. It's very low key and understated.
He plays a good everyman because he seems like he's like capable, but not like a normal like Hollywood leading guy capable.
God, my favorite in that Little Evil is when Evangeline Lilly's character comes clean with him. Like, yeah, there was this guy, and some people say it was a cult, but you know, he was basically like raped or something, right? Like ritualistically or something. Or
she didn't remember. She was just like, yeah, I think like
She just kind of like just discounted it to, yeah, you know, when you're in college, you do silly things. What? How? Did they? Was she just pregnant, or did they do that to her?
I think it just happened in like a ritual. Because remember, they went to go like, the stepdad went to go confront who he thought was her ex, and like the guy had never actually had a relationship with her. He was just like the leader of the cult at the time.
Oh, that's right.
And he was all crazy.
But it all seemed like it was harmless the way she talks about it. It's like, yeah, you know, I was young.
Like it just happened somehow.
And then the guy's like so cool. He's just like, I don't even think he ever says like, you were in a cult. Like he never really freaks out on her, right?
No, he doesn't. He's very accepting of it.
The only thing is at the end when she digs him up is where he finally loses his crap, right?
Yes, because he's been through so much at that point.
Well, the kid buries him in the backyard.
And then he calls her like, I'm in the backyard.
Oh, that's right. Like the cell phone, right?
Yeah, and he's like, I want a divorce.
God, so funny.
And apparently there's been like other boyfriends she's had that haven't survived until that point. It's very good.
And the weird thing is they bought the house like right next to a cemetery.
Kids all playing.
So the kid's swinging. He's on a swing and there's like this cemetery right behind him with all this mist coming. It's like all ominous. God, you know what? That movie's better than The Omen.
It is. It actually is. It's a weird movie because I remember when did it come out like around Halloween? Because I remember it came out in a weird time period where I was like, this doesn't seem like the right time for this movie to come out. Like it seemed very random.
Maybe.
Because like it's one of those movies like it has such a strange tone to it. Like you know what I mean? Like there's not really like a time or place.
Yeah, it's contemporary, but even the town is a weird, like, almost, like, you know, God, what is it? Stephen King. Like, all the settings in Stephen King books always seem strangely, like, not real places.
Yeah.
Like, they're always somewhere in Maine or something, like, places that people don't really know very well. And so they always seem kind of strange.
Yeah, some kind of small town in Maine where it seems like it could be like the 1960s or something.
Yeah, this one, the backdrop of this was kind of like it was some weird small town, right? There were old churches and...
Yeah, it looks like the Omen setting actually a lot.
Did it like New England or whatever? Like
yeah, because like you said, they have those old churches and the town's kind of small, but it seems like it's set in a contemporary time at the same time.
Yeah. God, when he's sitting and eating ice cream with that kid and he's like, I'm sorry I tried to... What does he say to the kid? Like,
sorry I tried to drown you.
And he goes, yeah, I'm sorry I buried you or something like that. I think that's the first time the kid really speaks, right?
Yeah, he starts talking for the first time because he laughs at like the water park, and then that's the first time you hear him talking to him is when they're eating ice cream.
Sorry I tried to kill you. And then he's like, so buddy, like, you need to talk to me or whatever. And it's like, you seem like you're afraid of something. He goes, yeah, I'm afraid of my dad. And then it casually in conversation, yes. Right, it comes out that his dad is Satan.
He's like, he says he wants joint custody.
He wants joint custody. Oh my gosh.
It is the weirdest thing.
And then that guy's like, oh my gosh. Like, after all that's happened, he finally is like, your dad is Satan. This shit's real, man. I'm almost done. We could wrap this up soon. I wanted to finish this, though.
I was trying to find some info about Stranger Things, because I know that the next season is supposed to air soon, because they said mid-2019. And I know we're on the subject of Netflix original series.
Yeah, I just saw something on that show, a breakdown. Oh, it was a review of season 2. I know this is a little old news, but what's his name? Nitpicks?
Ooh, I like his channel.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool because I guess he had more insight than we had, but his observations on a lot of it was the same as ours. Like I said, we talk a lot, Taylor and I, while we're working. And so he said that there's one episode that throws that whole series off.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the punk rock X-Men kind of episode.
I hate that episode so much. I almost dropped. Like, I almost didn't watch any more after that.
Yeah, the only problem with that is if it would have been a one and done, it would have been better. But that, what is her name? The little waffle eating girl.
11.
11. She kind of stays dressed like that ghoul for most of the rest of the season.
Oh gosh.
But I guess the creators, the Duffel brothers or whatever their names are, said that it was kind of an experiment and they wanted to see if they could expand the world, and that possibly those would be like maybe new characters to spin off or something like that. And so that's why it kind of doesn't really fit in to the mythology. So I'm really hoping they just ditch all that. You know what I mean? They don't bring it back up.
Yeah, it really did not work at all for me. The tone of that episode's so horrible. Rise Again Comics says Stranger Things will air July 4th.
Oh, cool. Soon.
Interesting.
4th of July weekend. Be there.
Optimistic Cynical said, I took my nephew to the park when we got home and we found his goldfish dead, which is a tough situation for any non-parent. How do you explain autoerotic asphyxiation to a 4-year-old?
You wait for their parents to come pick them up, and then you dump it onto them.
Yeah, you don't have to. This is your nephew.
I would just say, yeah, there's a lot of questions you should ask your dad. I'm not sure I'm the one that should answer these questions.
And Rise Again says, the only cool thing about the punk rock thing was 11 met a sister who is dark and more violent than herself. Then she overcame it and left. But other than that, it was awful. I disagree. I think the entirety of it was absolutely awful. I thought the chick that played the other girl was terrible. Was she even an actress? I don't know. All the other characters were terrible, and like their ages were really strange, that they were all like different ages, but they were all part of that same experiment. Were they even a part of the same experiment, or was it just that one girl?
I think she was the only one that had powers, right? They were just kind of hanger-ons. Was that
so?
Right?
They were just like her weird punk rock adult friends that hung out with a young girl.
Yeah, it was pretty odd.
It was pretty bad. Yeah, she was bad. Says Rise Again. Yeah, it was everything was so on the nose. As soon as that "She's a Little Runaway" song started playing, I was like, wow, this episode's gonna be really bad.
The weird thing is too, I mean, yeah, as an exercise, whatever, maybe we can forgive you, on that. But the thing is, it clearly, and maybe they were right or they had test screenings or something, because nothing came of those subplots at all. Like all that stuff that they talked about, nothing really came from it. Like there was, how usually like with a season, like the way they do Netflix or a movie, that there's a kind of a beginning, middle, and end, not just to the overall story, but to like situations. Mm-hmm. It was never called back.
No. And
now I'm thinking about it, that guy, the old conspiracy guy, which I dug. I thought that guy was cool. The one guy in the bathrobe or whatever.
He was the best new addition to the show, I think.
He was, but it never went anywhere. They never really called it back or did anything with it. Or is he at the end?
Well, they had him. He like broke the story or something, right? But I don't think they. don't remember.
Does he come back at the end? Like, he's just observing it, but now he's out because he wasn't leaving his house and all that other stuff. But this time, like, at the end, something happens, and then you see him watching it. Like, that maybe he's going to be more of a proactive part in the story in the future.
I think you're right. Nick says, Tag is talking about the Stranger Things episode. Yes, we are talking about that particular infamous Stranger Things episode.
With the little runaways.
And then, like, when she's just, like, bitching, I was like, oh, please don't let this be a thing. Like...
Yeah, everything else was pretty rooted and pretty grounded, and it seemed pretty, it seemed really cool, but, yeah, that was odd.
It was strange, for sure. Stranger Things.
It was so very strange.
It was a little cringe.
I think that would be the very definition of cringe.
When they, like, slicked back her hair and gave her eyeliner. It's just like, what is going on? Like...
It was weird, yeah. I don't know how... I know you have to come up with creative ideas and stuff, but I don't know how they thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, there was a Duffer Brothers project a while back that I think they had been working on either before Stranger Things or during. I don't know if they might have written it. I don't think they produced it. But it was a very, very similar subject where it was like teenagers that got some kind of telepathic abilities because of an alien invasion. And it looked like that episode just extended into a movie.
Maybe that was that movie before this, or was it after?
It was right after season 1 of Stranger Things, when their name was just becoming marketable. And I'm going to find the title of it right now. But I remember I was like, oh, the Duffer Brothers, because the commercial opened with that. And then I remember I didn't really have like an inclination of what to expect for the second season. So I was like, wow, that looks kind of really bad. But like I never knew it was going to get incorporated in some way. It was... Let's see what else they've worked on.
Because it does sound a lot like that idea that you're talking about.
Let's see. Matt Duffer. I'll find his IMDb. We All Fall Down, Stranger Things, Wayward Pines, Hidden. Vessel, no. Wow, they've worked on a lot more than I thought that they worked on. Unless he produced it. This is going to drive me crazy.
I do kind of remember seeing that advertised, what you're talking about.
Yeah. Gosh, they have a lot more credits than I expected. Anyway, we'll find it at some point. But, yeah. The one cool, let's see. I will admit, season 2 made me realize the Duffers ain't all that. It said Rise Again.
Yeah, that was the sad. I hate that when that happens, when you have this creative person, you're like, yeah, so cool. And then, yeah, like, who did it? Like, Chris Carter did that in X-Files to me. Those Bad Robot guys did that. And then, I'm trying to think more recently. Yeah, I guess the Duffer Brothers. The Russo Brothers.
It does suck when you believe in somebody's creativity that much, though. You're like, yeah, I want to see whatever they've come out with. Then you're like, oh, this is it.
All the new Pixar movies.
Yeah, pretty much, actually. Nick W. says, Stranger Things really needs another number experiment to be a villain.
That she can go against? Maybe. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Because that Upside Down, that's another thing that the second season fell short, is they didn't really define or redefine a new villain. Like, it just seemed like it was basically the same plot. And also, they didn't do anything interesting with that, that kid that found the monster as a little, whatever, baby monster?
Oh gosh, D'Artagnan?
Nothing happened. Like, I thought either D'Artagnan was going to be, like, some kind of ally, or that D'Artagnan would, like, he would learn how to, like take those things down.
Something,
based
anything.
on hanging out with those things. Yeah, or something, but nothing happened.
That was actually that was the exact point in season 2 where I was like, You know what? This season's not as good as the first season. It was when Dustin had D'Artagnan and it escaped, and it was like that bad CGI tadpole, and it was like running, and then like it was just the shot of like D'Artagnan running down the hallway, and then Dustin's like, "Don't you hurt him!" And I was like, "You know
they're
what?"
looking through the school for
Yeah,
him?
and I was like,
I hated that.
And
too.
I was like, you know what? This season's not very good.
Yeah, this is bad.
Because he was so... Dustin went from, like, being pretty smart to being, like, super dumb. Like, he found that thing and was, like, hiding it in his room. And, like, I don't know, it's so bad.
Because Dustin's thing was, like, he was kind of the odd man out in the group because he was the last friend to join their clique, right?
Yeah.
So he was just, he had a speech impediment, and he was a little bit more... like, obvious the fodder to be picked on, from the cool kids at school or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was never a dope. Yeah, he wasn't stupid.
Yeah, he seemed like he was relatively, he was pretty intelligent, and that's kind of what they, like, respected about him and their little, like, nerd group. But then he was just, like, turning against his friends for this bad CGI tadpole.
I do think it's pretty genius that they're bringing as a backdrop, like, the mall culture of the 80s.
Yeah.
For the new backdrop. Man, I'll tell you, that one character, as a creative person, and I'm sure you thought about this too, Taylor, like, how would you write this character? It's the one guy that had the crush on the girl. He was like the rich guy in the first season, the kid.
Oh, are we talking about, oh my gosh, I can't remember the character's name. I almost said Tony, and that's not his name.
I should know this. I hung out with that guy's dad at some con.
What the heck is his name? He has like a really average name. It's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Help us, chat. The one with the big hair.
Yeah, the weird hair. But, like in the new trailer for the new season, where he's got that sailor outfit or whatever, like he works at like the hot dog on a stick or whatever that weird, like mall food.
Steve,
yeah. It's hilarious. And then they do that kind of like acknowledgement of each other. And then you're like, man, Steve turned into a big old nerd. Like, those kids are actually influencing Steve.
I like it though because like when they first met him as the cool kid and he was like dating the sister, he didn't seem like he was like a Hollywood cool kid where he seems like, like they already seem like they're movie stars. They're like 30 years old hanging out at school. He was like kind of skinny and had the big hair. Like he looked like a plausible cool kid in a high school back then.
Yeah.
So it's like if he turns out to like when he's in his 20s be kind of a dork, it feels very fitting in a way.
Yeah, like he always was that, but for some reason nobody acknowledged it.
Yeah, like she thought he was cool.
Yeah, but she was like, 16. She didn't know what cool was.
Oh, I see the picture of him in the outfit.
It's a sailor hat, right?
Yeah, he's got it. It's his boy.
And they do some kind of handshake in front of that girl. And she just looks at him like, you guys are idiots.
But it totally, like, fits. That's funny.
His first job is totally humiliating.
I mean, we all go through that. Wow, that's funny.
Yeah, but I'm kind of looking forward to that because I was a little older for the mall culture thing, but I do remember it enough. Actually, you know what? I was probably the perfect age because I saw Star Wars at a mall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think that, like, I don't know, mall culture was an interesting thing that isn't, it's not portrayed in, like, any kind of media aside from being, like, a farcical joke. You know what I mean? But, like, it's actually kind of I feel like people are kind of missing out on it. Because, like, when I was younger, I used to go hang out at the mall and stuff, but it was different because it was, like, in the late 90s, early 2000s, so, like, it wasn't quite the same. But, like, even then, we were still hanging out at malls, and there was way less to do at malls at that point.
The thing is, I just thought, like, as far as a younger, like, teen type of age, I don't know, maybe 12 to 18, maybe 19. It's really a great place. And just from a, I don't know, parental type of situation, you want to be able to take your kids someplace that, they're not going to get hurt, or that you can kind of trust that it's going to be okay. The mall's actually a pretty cool place for that.
Yeah.
There's always crazy security. You can't walk 10 feet without finding mall security. And there's plenty of things for younger people to do to keep them out of real trouble. Like we started with that horror movie with that lady, I'll buy you a beer. Keep them out of those situations. And they can watch movies, they can eat, they can date, they can do all kinds of stuff there and shop. And there's plenty of things to do for an evening, a couple hours.
Yeah, it's kind of the ideal hangout place.
Yeah.
When you're that age, because everything's within walking distance in the mall, and
Yeah, and as a young person, you don't have to worry about even having any, I guess, status. You don't necessarily need a vehicle. Your parents can drop you off, and you can basically be independent of your family for a couple hours.
Especially with there are very few malls left that have them, but the malls that do have movie theaters may be still in them.
Really? A lot of them don't anymore?
There's only one I can think of, which is the Santa Ana one, I think. Because the two local ones that I still visit occasionally don't have them. One used to, I think. But I don't think a lot of the ones around here do anymore.
Yeah, we have a mall that's close, and it still has a theater in it. I think it's not in the mall anymore, though, because they used to actually be in the mall.
That's what I was picturing.
This one's outside of the mall.
Because the one in Santa Ana, you go, it's kind of cool. You go upstairs and it's there.
Yeah, I think those are the old ones that were built into the mall itself. But I think since they have the stadium seating and all the other stuff, I don't think those malls could were equipped to handle that kind of space.
According to Jirakin, malls are coming back now.
Not that it's nostalgic for me, but just as far as a place for younger people to meet and stuff, it seems like a really cool idea.
Yeah, definitely. Nick W. says, Stranger Things theory. Eleven's mother created the Upside Down. Her backstory is not as benevolent as it seems.
Ooh.
I would like that, actually. I would like to see the mom actually start to heal instead of being permanently jacked up from her horrible life, because that was pretty sad.
That's the main thing I think that came out of 11 leaving, right? Was the mom stuff.
Yeah, and they haven't reunited her with the mom yet. Because she's still hanging out with Hopper, who's starting to get on my nerves.
No, 11's mom.
I know, they haven't reunited 11 with her mom yet, though.
Oh, I thought she did in that... Oh, she didn't? She met her sister or something, right?
She met that stupid girl that... But I don't think 11 interacted with her mom yet, did she?
I thought she did.
All
right, chat.
Chat, did 11 meet up with her mom? If so, how the heck did I forget that? Because that seems very pivotal. Why didn't she stay with her? Just because she's jacked up and it's dangerous?
I don't think she could communicate with her.
Oh, I think you're right. I think she was didn't she get some communication out of her through the TV or something?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because I think she did go to find her and her aunt was there or something, right?
Yeah, I guess it's 11's aunt, yeah.
Because I would like to see the mom actually kind of get her life back. Considering she's catatonic and messed up from that whole event.
Well, it would kind of be the nice happy ever after, to this whole story.
There's something really weird going on where they're just this coming season, Hopper has to deal with 11 growing up. And I was oh, I didn't think her living with him was going to be a permanent thing. I don't know.
Well, I don't know what else I don't know what else future that little girl has.
He started to annoy me in this last season because he was kind of really stupid.
In what way?
Like digging a giant hole that took the entire night by just himself. And then falling into it and becoming trapped. Like he didn't even know that was going to happen.
Yeah, that was pretty lame.
I was like, why would you do this? Like, I'm just gonna go out there and dig all night a hole that would take forever to dig.
And why at night?
Yeah, like, did he have to do it right then alone? Like...
It was scarier.
And then he's like stuck down there and he gets lost and he's lumbering around like an idiot in the dark being chased by monsters. And it's like, really? Like you're really just gonna jump down here?
Who got him out? It was one of the kids, right?
Yeah, the kids got him out. Stupid idiot.
One of the kids got him out.
It's so dumb. The second season's pretty flawed, you guys.
There's just some stuff that just doesn't pay off. But it might in time.
Lots of retro things are coming back because the whole always connects. Never seeing people face to face and nothing being real is what kids grew up with, says Durakin. Well, I hope so. I don't know. Maybe I'm holding on to nostalgia too, but I think it's nice.
I just think it's a pretty... It's not a bad idea. We're talking about malls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think as a parent, I am a parent. And Amanda, like I said, there is the local, and we would drop her off. She didn't have like the full-on mall experience of the past, but enough of it, and I think she likes the mall.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Flip phones and malls provide a new experience that's more in line with what humans naturally crave. I don't know if flip phones fit into that, but I agree with the mall.
What did they have? They had, what was that shop? The goth shop.
Hot Topic?
Hot Topic, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They had like a band that she was into. And they had they had signings there at the mall.
Yeah, and remember they had listening stations in Hot Topic back in the day where you could just like sit and listen to the music.
Actually, I do remember that.
That was pretty cool.
I remember I was like, they have like Iron Maiden's like Number of the Beast they're selling here. Like, this is weird. Like, that's a 30-year-old album.
It used to be like the old Hot Topic back when it was spooky and actually carried like music. It was pretty cool. Because I remember at the time, like, I would go get old music from there. Because I think they sold even like used CDs and stuff. Like, I think you could trade them in for a time.
I think they did. Yeah, they had a used section. Because the albums and CDs, because I think they sold vinyl there too, they were kind of in the back. They weren't right up in the front of the store.
It was the first major place I remember seeing like vinyl stuff for sale when I was younger. It used to be pretty neat. I used to be really freaked out by that place because it was super loud. And it had the gargoyles and the fake flames. So I remember my mom used to have to like convince me to go in there.
How old were you?
I was pretty little because I remember when I was like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or something. I don't know. When I was like super, super little, I used to always have an obsession because I didn't like Barbies and dolls, but I really liked action figures. But if there was like the Tolkien girl action figures and they were always bad guys, I wanted them. So like I remember I had stupid Evil Lynn and she was like yellow for some reason. Like I liked like evil women action figures for some reason. As a kid, it was very niche. And I remember I never wanted to go in there. Mom would be like, "Don't you want to go see the bad girls?" Because that's what I called them. And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Your mom's just trying to con you into this so she can go get her her black eye makeup.
Like, go on, you can go see the bad girls. That's how I would go in there. It's friggin' loud, I remember. Like, you could hear it outside of the store.
I just remember they a lot of times they had DC and Marvel licensed stuff in the front of the shop.
Did
right?
they?
Yeah, in the window.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then like Invader Zim was like their mainstay like character. Like Zim was everywhere.
Yes, in like the early 2000s. And that was the beginning of the end when Hot Topic started getting really pop culturally and cartoony. And
okay. I don't remember it prior to that.
Zim was their first like cartoon property. They got big, and then after that they got a Nickelodeon license, and then it was all downhill after that.
That's right. They did have a lot of Nick stuff. So that's more like Amanda's time, my daughter's, than... Yeah, because you're a little older.
That was the time when I was like old enough to shop there, and I remember like being into that era of Hot Topic. Because when I was a little kid, it was like unapproachable.
Yeah.
Because there was like nothing I was into in there. It was just like my mom would go there to get music. And I remember all the people that worked there were like ultra 90s goths, so they were intimidating to me as a child. And by the time I went in there, it was all raver stuff and Invader Zim. Rhaegar says, did you see Aladdin?
No, but we did a little mini review of it earlier, a couple hours ago. We've been on this thing for a while.
We have. It's been 3 hours, actually. We just crossed the 3-hour mark.
Well, you guys, I really can't go any further on this without a brush and a template, so let me see if I can zoom this in for you guys.
It's looking pretty good, Art.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, thank you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Look at that hair.
Here is... I don't know what page this is. Is this
46?
46. So this is a panel from page 46.
Pretty awesome.
So this is where Black and White strike back. They're tired of taking it.
They're sticking it to the bots.
They're sticking it to the bots, baby. Yeah, so thanks, guys. Let me tape this down for tuning in. Oh, wait, should we do this real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you guys remember the
Wow, this is on heavy paper.
It is. It's nice. Ooh.
Let me move this now and put this here.
Look at that.
Is that what you can see on your phone? Should I move this up or?
No, I think it looks good.
Is it good?
We can always show them a little bit of the bottom if you want to pull it up real quick and show.
Okay.
This is the Black and White 25th anniversary print right here.
Yes. So what are we going to do with this?
Well, we do have a code phrase. If anybody in the chat would like to get themselves this print, you got to say the code phrase.
Wait. They can own this print?
They can. They can own this print by saying the code phrase "from the ashes," and then we'll choose their name, and we'll pull it from a hat, and then whoever's chosen can contact us via the contact link. And we'll hook them up with this fancy smancy 11x17 print.
So they don't pay anything for this?
I mean, if they want to pay for shipping.
Yeah, you guys, just to get serious for a minute. Yeah, somebody won one of these a couple days ago, and they live, I forget, like Brazil or something. They live
very far.
They live pretty far away, so we can ship it, and we will ship it, but I can't pick up the tab for shipping overseas. So I will pick up the shipping within reason, a couple bucks or whatever. So it is free as long as you live, within the United States, and it's not going to bust my bank. But yeah, it's pretty much free, and Taylor and I will sign this up for you guys. So what do they have to say to win this?
You have to type in the chat right now, "from the ashes," and I will take down your guys' name, and we'll pull from the hat. So "from the ashes" is the key phrase to get yourself this print for free. And
so they have to type in "from the ashes."
From the ashes, that's the magic phrase.
And this is the hat, which we will put
the
names in.
That is the very hat.
That is the very hat.
So we will give you guys a little bit of time to get in your "from the ashes" in there. Sounds like something just broke downstairs. I'm going to write down some of your names. And I'm going to see, so you guys know it's fair. I'm going to make sure I write it clearly because
we misspelled one once.
Last time I did not. I stand by it. People were roasting me.
I stand behind it. How dare you?
Oh man, there's a lot of you guys in here right now.
Oh, cool.
There's like 29 of you guys in the chat. If all of you guys hit that like button, it would be pretty cool.
Yes, please.
It would really help out the channel.
Sometimes when you put 3 hours in like this, Taylor, don't you think, like, how did we do that? We were entertaining for 3 hours.
I know. It doesn't feel like it was that long.
Do you let it go to your head?
I should have kept working on that page 47, but I couldn't with the light here because I would have probably had that part done.
Had you known.
Now I feel stupid because now I gotta work on it at home. Magic Carpet Ride. Is this a new person in the chat?
Ooh, I
All
like
right,
that.
are we calling it? We have quite a few people here.
Yes, actually, I should have timed it, but yes, we are. It has been like a minute.
There will be more. There will be more chances.
Yeah, you guys. Oh, go ahead.
If you guys, want to keep. If you guys don't win this time, I'm gonna try to rip these carefully so I don't rip
The names.
the names I just wrote out.
Here.
I'll ball those up. I'm a lurker mostly, says Magic Carpet. Well, welcome. I'm glad you chimed in to try to get yourself this print. Best of luck.
I'm glad you lurked here.
You're always welcome to lurk.
And hopefully you don't live in Mexico.
Trust me, you guys, we'd like to pick up the tab, but shipping to some places is like $18.
Yeah, it's expensive. My wife just went, I think it was the Brazil one. She went to the post office and she found the price. Yeah, and it's, like Taylor said, it's kind of expensive. All right, so here's the names. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. So I'm mixing them all up.
That's
so
how you know it's legit.
Yeah, that's how you know. So I'm mixing them up with my hands. So I'm pulling a name here. I'm going to set the hat down. And then, so you guys... Oh, Durakin.
Oh, it's Durakin.
Whee! You know, it's not rigged. Actually, they all said Durakin. No, they didn't.
No. I spelled your name wrong on purpose.
Is he getting down on you?
No, but I added an extra R.
There's a couple R's, and are there always two K's?
It's Durakken.
Durr.
So Durakin, you have you've won this print. So if you want to go ahead, give us your contact info using the contact link in the description. We're going to hook you up with this.
Yes, and we will sign it up right here in front of you.
And thanks for always being here and sassing it up in the chat.
Yeah, we like your sassy frassy.
You sassy creature.
All right, I'm going to sign it right here.
Ooh.
Are you going to sign under me?
Yes.
Or sign above me?
All under.
Sign over here. Sign right there.
Ah!
Now sign anywhere you want.
Now I'm scared.
I'm a control freak.
I'll do it right here.
I don't like that.
You said anywhere.
I didn't mean it. I was hoping you'd make the right decision.
Oh, God. Thanks for the stream, says Mark Flannel.
Yeah. Oh, you're very much welcome, Mark. And thank you guys for tuning in, hanging out, making this a lot of fun, doing comic books for you guys. We do have a black and white campaign or we have a book in the shop.
We do, but black and white is still available for now in demand on Indiegogo. It'll probably be available for the next, what would you say, Art month?
Yeah.
And then it will be gone, and you'll have missed out if you don't get your book.
Yeah, don't miss out.
So go ahead if you haven't picked that up. There's also still some copies of Oodles, a very few.
Do I have one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have one of these. Here's our shameless plug section.
RT Bear's first art book. It's a hardcover deluxe art book. And you can get that as well as an add-on to Black and White, or you can buy it and it'll be ready to ship.
Yeah, if you buy this now, just the book alone, we can ship that out. But if it's with the Black and White tier, you'll have to wait a little bit for the Black and White to be printed up and shipped out. So I don't know. Taylor didn't plug this, but she did the nice design work here on the book. I think you got a bigger plug inside here.
I know, it was a little
This one's still a little tiny right here. That's a little understated.
I think I went overboard on that one.
This one right here. No, you can never be too big.
It's a little large.
No.
The tag goblin is drooling in that.
Go big or go home. Yeah, so here's the book. I think there's maybe 20, 25 of these left. And after that, there will be no more.
Yeah, you guys, it was a very limited print run. So what's there is there, and when it is gone, it is gone. So get it while you can if you want the first collected hardcover art book of Art T. Bear's artwork. It's very beautiful. It's one to show off on the shelves.
Yes. Oh, and if you guys want this panel patch, we will be putting it up on the Indiegogo once I'm done with it. So it should be done in a bit. Maybe
Yes,
next 10, 15 minutes.
Let us know. Let us know if you want that patch, and we're gonna go ahead and list it for anybody who wants to add that to their collection as well.
Yes. So thanks, guys. Have a good one. It was fun, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.